Radio.
Correctly with the correct amount.
And now for our feature presentation.
Sorry about that, folks. A little bit of maintenancing we had to do on our end to get the show up and running. And welcome to the series premiere of the Untitled Movie Show here on Retro Unlimited on blogtalkradio.com. I'm your host, Miguel Leon, and we're going to talk about some movie topics today. It's a movie-based TV online series. But before we get into all that, let me introduce some of the co-pilots here on tonight's episode. From I Got Gameplay and the Nerd Genius, please welcome my usual co-host on I Got Gameplay, Michael Burhan.
And also the sexiest man on radio, Miguel. Get it right. Get it right.
Self-proclaimed sexiest man on radio.
Hey, my mum thinks I'm handsome.
That's very good, Burhan. And joining us, you can hear him laughing in the background, we have a special guest here tonight from XFI Radio, Clint Davis.
Well, I would just like to say that Bill Clinton is happy to be on this program here, guys.
I can see his boner.
It's good to be on here, man. I'm glad we're kicking this thing off.
I'm really excited, man. You know, it's I've been doing secondary hosting on Burhan's show, but this is the first time I've ever had a show that I can, you know, really lead myself. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It might be a little bit clunky, but hopefully as the show keeps going on, it'll get a little bit more, you know, we'll ease into it a little bit more. And, you know, it's going to be an adventure for all of us.
Well, I just had a little deja vu. It felt like we've done this before somewhere. I don't know.
We have on some other network somewhere in another universe, but we're not going to talk about shit. Let's
yeah.
Let's go on about to the show, and I want to take the chance to welcome both yourself, Miguel, and you, Clint, to the Retro Island Network, because it's awesome, and being the first week on the Retro Island Network, it's great, guys. And all I want to say to everybody is welcome to the Untitled Movie Show, of course, because this is going to be awesome. I love movies.
Oh yeah, we all do. You know, Burhan's not just known for video games. He has his show Movie File, which I've seen, which is great. You know, I hope to see more entries into that series.
Yeah, season 2's coming, believe it or not.
Oh, definitely, man. I'm really looking forward to that. And Clint, I'm not sure what your connection is when it comes to movies.
Hookers, dead hookers.
Well, you know, I don't know. I mean, you know, I watch a lot of movies. I kind of like to keep up with what's going on. There's one movie that I want to talk about. I'm sure we'll get to it at some point, and how disgraceful it was to me, and that was Man of Steel.
That, you know what? I'd love to be able to talk about that. We might if we have some more time. Tonight's topic, if you guys haven't already seen, is going to be on box office bombs of 2013. And while I would love to say that Man of Steel was a box office bomb, commercially, it made a ton of money for DC. And it's going to lead to a lot more movies in the DC universe, for better or worse, I'm sure.
Aliens. That's where they lost me. Just like the fourth Indiana Jones movie. I'm out on the aliens.
Oh, to be fair, I mean, Superman is technically an alien. You know, he is from Krypton.
He should not be called Superman if he is an alien. He should be called Super Alien.
That's one thing I want to say, though. Did you guys hear the rumor that's going on with Superman versus Batman and how everyone kicked up a shit fit over the fact that they were going to say that Wonder Woman was Kryptonian? It was like a rumor someone spread, and everyone was like, if it's fucking true, I'm going to fuck DC, fuck Warner Brothers, fuck them.
Well, I've got my own gripes with Warner Brothers and DC, but in terms of the Batman versus Superman movie, they're shoving so many DC characters into there. They might as well just call it Justice League the movie at this point. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
You've got Wonder Woman being slotted into there. There's rumors of Green Lantern being slotted into there. I mean, it's ridiculous. And honestly, that was actually the original idea. I don't know if I mentioned that to you.
I might as well call the movie Super Friends.
No. The original idea. All right, a little bit of a backstory.
Cool.
Before Marvel kicked off their Phase 1 stuff with Thor and Iron Man and all that other stuff back in 2000, there were talks on making a JLA movie. They were going to go the opposite route, though, of Marvel, where instead of having a bunch of individual movies lead up to a big, you know, event film, they were going to have one Justice League movie, introduce all the characters in there, and then from there splinter each character off into their own separate movies. I remember they even signed George Miller on, who directed the Road Warrior. He was signed on as the director. I think they had like Armie Hammer from the Lone Ranger signed up to play Superman, and a bunch of other actors.
Lone Ranger, horrible. Curl on the head. Bad.
We'll so get into that, trust me. But yeah, that was the original plan, and then for whatever reason, I think because of the success of the Avengers, DC was like, yeah, we're gonna shelve this idea and just copy what they're doing. You know, we're gonna have the separate movies that lead into there. So I don't know what Warner Brothers' plans are with DC. I mean, they've kind of, I don't think they know what they're doing. It's like they had one success with Batman, and they just kind of are just spitballing from there. Trust me, I can go on a whole rant of my issues with Warner Brothers and their creative control.
The only thing I don't like about Warner Brothers is the fact that they took the damn dancing frog with the top hat off the TV. But I think they should make Ben Affleck every superhero from here on, and J-Lo should play Catwoman and Wonder Woman and everybody else related to female superheroes.
No, I got to disagree with you on that. Affleck! You know what? I'm okay. You know what? I'm all right with Ben Affleck. I don't have the hatred that everybody else does. I'm actually one of the few people that didn't mind Daredevil. I thought that movie had way more potential than people give it credit, and I don't blame Affleck for it. That was all the studio's fault.
It was only because he had a disability. That's why everybody took to the movie. It was because he had a disability in the movie. Now, you get him in something like Batman. I mean, seriously, who the hell wants to see Ben Affleck as Batman? I mean, I didn't even want to see George Clooney as Batman. Now, you know, we've got this other guy.
George Clooney was just terrible.
George Clooney was god-awful. You know, Val Kilmer was a stretch, but you put George Clooney in there. Then we got this latest guy that's done all these Dark Knight movies, and he's running around all the time going, I'm Batman. You're not going to like me when I'm angry. You know, I mean, he's just got a horrible voice for this thing. That might have been a little Incredible Hulk in there, but still, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Hey, Joker, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, I'll admit the Bat voice was a little bit much. You know, I'll admit I did not mind the first two Batman movies. I avoided the third one because the third one just looked too bloated for my taste. It kind of felt like it gave me flashbacks to Spider-Man 3, and I did not want to see it. But
I still haven't seen it. Third one at all.
The third Dark Knight movie?
Yeah, I haven't seen it at all because as soon as they were like, we're going to put this person, I was like, yeah, I'm not watching that.
Well, now you got to distinguish between the third Batman movie and the third Dark Knight movie, because the third Batman movie was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It was the one with Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones. It was those two guys are class acts. They did a great job playing Two-Face and the Riddler.
I didn't like his Two-Face. The reason being was because Harvey Dent was black in the first movie, and then suddenly in the third movie, he ended up being white and red. I was like, just looking at it thinking, okay, Harvey, you went from being black to white and red.
He was white and old, and then in the Dark Knight he was young. I mean, it was crazy how that worked out.
Well, that actually was that was a Schumacher call, by the way, because they did still have, Warner Brothers still had Billy D. Williams signed on to play Two-Face in the third movie. In fact, that's why he signed on in the first Batman. It was, I'm going to play Harvey Dent on the premise that I get to play Two-Face later on, and then when they gave the rights to Schumacher, he decided to go with Tommy Lee Jones because he felt Jones was a bigger actor, and so he had Warner Brothers pay out Billy D. Williams to get him out of his contract.
Schumacher did a great job with the third one. He did a great job with when he got Tommy Lee Jones in there, when he got Jim Carrey in there. But he ran the fourth one into the damn ground, and he kind of killed it for me.
You know what? I defend him, and the only reason I do is because if you hear behind the scenes on that movie, that was 100% studio interference. I mean, he said it best in the commentaries. They basically made Batman and Robin to sell toys. That's why.
But what happened with putting Arnold Schwarzenegger in the get down? We have to get out of here. We're gonna freeze you.
Looks like it's a freeze.
Sub-Zero wins.
Yeah, that was
horrible.
That was gimmick casting on their part, but
you.
I don't think he's completely absolved, but I'll admit, Batman Forever, in terms of the two Schumacher movies, I actually prefer Forever over Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin is just way too cartoony, but we can go and
started on na Clooney. Clooney.
Well, I don't know, man. I'll say this about Clooney. He was sleepwalking. That was a sleepwalking part. He
even said it. He was like, I didn't really want to be Batman.
Yeah, that was more of just his publicist was like, listen, you play a superhero, it's an instant bank, you'll make tons of money, and sadly the movie did make a ton of money for what it was. I went to go see it in the theaters. I was young.
And chicks dig any dude that plays Batman. I mean, look at, but I think Clooney's a major douche anyway. I mean, anybody that's going to break up with Stacy Keibler is a major douche in my opinion.
True that, man. True that. All right, let's start off with the main topic then. Tonight,
we do have a call on line 1. Do you want me to answer it?
Oh, it's a caller from the 407 area. That's Orlando. Yeah, pick him up. Hello, caller. Caller from the 407. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Miguel, it's Nick.
Oh, hey, Nick. What's going on, man? Nick's a buddy of Nick. For those of you guys who don't know, he's a buddy of mine from Orlando. He and Chris. He's a friend of mine through Chris Jester. You know Jester, right? Right, Burham?
Yes, I do. And the constant comments he talks about raping people.
I was in Jester's fantasy football league halfway through the season. Somebody dropped off. He put me in it. I carried the team.
I'm actually the guy who dropped out, man. You took my team.
Oh, you drafted a horrible team. What is up with you?
I didn't really try this year. I admit it.
Wait, I think we have something for that. There you go. There you go.
I appreciate the call, Nick. What's on your mind, man?
I couldn't agree more with the whole Batman and Robin thing, and I think the reason they had a big cast was to just get more toy sales ultimately. I mean, you think about it, you get that many big-name stars in it. Oh, they'll go see the movie, then they'll go buy the toys. We'll make tons of money. I think it's an insult that they actually made any money off that piece of crap.
Yeah, that was totally a marketing. Just we need to make as much money as possible. That was back during the time when I don't think they really took comic book movies seriously. I mean, you look at a lot of the comic book movies that came out during that time, and they were basically just there to market to children. With the exception of The Crow, which I think is one of the best comic book movies I've seen.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
I liked Spawn. I was probably one of the only guys that liked Spawn.
I don't mind Spawn. My only big beef with Spawn is I was not a fan of Michael Jai White in that movie. I get why from a marketing perspective why you put a guy like that in that role, but I don't know. He just didn't carry the Spawn aura that well in my opinion. I mean it was a fine summer blockbuster, but it's nothing to write home about.
Oh, by the way, Retro Unlim, Stephen, our sort of Lord and Savior here, who finances the station, says he would cast Rick Moranis as Batman.
Love Rick Moranis. Hell yeah.
He likes Spawn.
Well, that's definitely some Joel Schumacher era gimmick casting right there.
Yeah, the only reason I even watched that movie was I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, it's fine. Burhan, you were going to say something?
I think the only reason I even checked out Spawn was John Leguizamo. I'm a big fan of his, but that was really the only reason I checked it out.
Movie. That dude had range and a fucking half as Clown. He really made up for his shitty Luigi.
Oh, he was the best part. I'll watch a bad movie if the villain is good enough. Like I'll watch. I'm one of the few people who actually really loves the '95 Judge Dredd, mostly for Armand DeSantis' performance. I mean, he chews up scenery left and right. I love that.
You talking about John Scenery?
No, scenery chewing. Like Judge Rico from Judge Dredd. The villain in that.
Never saw that movie. I'm not a big Stallone fan. Can't stand him.
Well, Nick, you got anything else you want to add to the program, or do you want to just hang on and join us in this conversation?
If you got any room for me anytime, I'd be glad to stay on.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything right now.
I tell you, you know what? Yeah, you can stay on the line. We'll keep you on the line then, and you can join us in on this conversation. Then we appreciate having you on, buddy.
No problem. And whoever said the Lone Ranger is terrible, I could not agree with you more. My God.
That would be me. That would be Clint Davis.
We will definitely.
My God, I can. Oh God! Thank God I ate dinner before I started this conversation.
I'm actually eating dinner right now. I made a last-minute run to Taco Bell before the show started.
Good choice.
Yeah.
I'm drinking a tall, cool Budweiser.
All right.
Lying in bed.
Yeah, I had some. I have some Jägermeister Spice. It's over my girlfriend's soon-to-be our apartment right now.
There you go.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
I took a steaming Batman and Robin.
Did you had to take a Batman and wipe your Robin?
Yeah, it was like
Hey, I'll admit the soundtrack for that movie was not that bad. That's actually one of the bright sparks of that movie is the soundtrack. It's no Danny Elfman soundtrack. Don't get me wrong, but it's not bad.
That is, yeah. They played that Smashing Pumpkins, so that was one good thing they had going.
I was sitting there with my Arnold Schwarzenegger voice going, "Is a shit coming?"
Yeah.
I love the Smashing Pumpkins. Yeah.
Hey, I love that song, especially the remake for the Watchmen soundtrack. That was awesome.
Good stuff.
But yeah, before we get into the actual list at hand, I feel it's best to explain what technically is a box office bomb, because there are different layers to what studios look at in terms of what's considered a success and what's considered a failure. You've got the over layer of it, which is, can the movie make back its principal budget domestically? For example, a movie like one of the movies we're going to talk about, After Earth, cost $130 million.
I'm pissed. James
Wow.
Smith, I'm getting sick of that little shit.
We'll get more into that when we go down the list. But a movie like that cost $130 million and had to make $130 million back domestically. That's the first layer of a movie's success. After that, you go into the second layer, which is international sales. And international sales are usually there to pay for any other lesser payments, because the principal budget that they always talk about in, talking about the production, that's only what it takes to actually make the movie, to actually, get the movie together. It doesn't factor in marketing. It doesn't factor in actor salaries. That type of stuff is usually done through the international markets. So when a movie is released worldwide, the way they calculate the the total worldwide sales, if I'm not mistaken, I think the equation that I saw was you have to take the worldwide budget, the worldwide gross, divide that by 2, and subtract it from the principal budget. And if the movie, if the movie is 0 or more, it's considered a success. And
you're killing me with the math here. At any point, are we going to talk about The Last Exorcism Part 2? And is it really The Last Exorcism?
That was one fucking long exorcism if it took 2 parts.
Honestly, that was actually on the list of bombs. I just didn't put it on because I'm surprised that movie made it to theaters. That to me just screams direct to video, that for some reason they were like, yeah, we can put this in the theaters. I don't know. It was going to be on the list, but I left it off and only put like the really big bombs.
Well, real quickly, they had a budget of $5 million. Worldwide gross was $15.1 million. So I mean, they made a little bit of money off of it. Opening weekend, they did $7.7 million. So they did almost half of their worldwide gross on opening weekend. But I think people got one look at this damn thing and they were just like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's funny though. It's weird because a lot of movie theaters, being stateside movie theaters, they usually focus a lot on the domestic buys, because that's where you make your money in American sales. A lot of times, though, the international sales can really save a movie. I'm thinking of, for example, Pacific Rim. A lot of people don't realize this, but domestically, Pacific Rim bombed.
I love a good Pacific Rim. Oh.
Man, you know why it bombed? The title. People thought it was a porno. That's why it bombed.
Pacific Rim. I mean, you think it's going to be something. You think there's either going to be some sex or maybe a toilet
Or anal.
Or the lid of a glass or something in there, and it turns out to be one of Bill Clinton's favorite movies of the year.
The Pacific Rim endeavor. We are canceling the apocalypse. Now do me.
Now, did somebody just say lips? I mean, we're still talking about a porn here, right?
I was sitting there. I watched this movie in its entirety. It had one of the Dudes from EastEnders on it, which just made me laugh. Which is a British soap over here, and he had a really bad Australian accent. You got us cancelled, mate. Punch. You had a Japanese girl who didn't understand what language she wanted to speak. Half her dialogue was in English, half her dialogue was in Japanese. I've got a funny feeling it's because she couldn't speak proper English. That's probably why.
I'll say this about Pacific Rim.
I love you.
No, I'll say this about Pacific Rim. I enjoyed the movie, but not because of the main characters. And that's not to say that they're not good. I mean, I love Idris Elba in anything he does. I think Charles Hunnam is a fine actor. I mean, if you've seen Sons of Anarchy, that guy can act his way, through anything.
Good
I
show.
just think that the material they gave them just made the main characters just really non-existent, almost just there for exposition. To me, the movie really was saved by its side characters. Like, I smiled when I saw Clifton Collins pop up with that bow tie and the suspenders and the slick back hair. I'm like, oh, he's there as he's got to be anime influenced. Like, he looked like he jumped right out of like a late 80s, early 90s mech anime. Like, I smiled when I saw him. And Ron Perlman it's Ron Perlman. I mean, he's obviously a great actor.
Yeah.
The two scientists, I mean, the movie really, to me, aside from the special effects, was really carried by all the side characters. Everybody else that was there seemed to be just a sieve for exposition, just to keep the story going.
Sorry.
But, going back to what we were talking about, that movie, it cost $190 million, only made back $100 million in the States, but it made $300 million internationally. So you can't call it a bomb. It made its budget back and more. And they've already announced Pacific Rim 2. They're already in talks to make the sequel. Del Toro's coming back to direct it.
Oh well, we all can't wait for that shit to go down.
You know what? They should just basically be calling it Pacific Rim 2: The Twins. Simple. That'd be a way to get the audience in.
I'm going to throw it out to you guys. If I'm the company that produced it, which I think it might be Warner Brothers, I don't know. I haven't.
It was Warner, yeah.
If I'm Warner Brothers and I see, all right, we put tons of money in this movie. It bombed domestically, but made a ton of money back internationally. It's a statewide company. They don't really market to international markets that well. Do you take the risk and make the sequel? Can you count on this movie being able to make its budget?
No.
Both?
No. And who is the smarter movie watcher? The foreign folks? And now I'm not speaking anything bad about people over overseas. The
Are we
foreign
talking Mexicans here?
Internationally, yeah, right down to the North Texas. Are we talking about smart movie fans who pay for this stuff overseas? Are they paying more for these movies? Is that why they made more money? Or are more people more interested in this stuff? Or do people in America just not give a shit anymore?
Well, I already said this in the pre-show, but it's still, I don't know what it says about the American movie viewer, but do you know what actually beat out Pacific Rim in the box office when it opened? Tyler
Perry Presents Peoples.
No, that actually did bomb, but I refuse to talk about a Tyler Perry movie. But unfortunately, the movie that beat it out was Grown Ups 2.
What?
Yeah, Grown Ups 2.
Seriously?
Grown Ups 2 opened up that same Friday and beat it out. It made more money than it did in the box office when opening weekend.
I shouldn't even be surprised that they made it Grown Ups 2, but yet I was, considering the first one was not really that good.
I think it was wonderful. But, my feel-good movie of the year, the best thing I have ever seen, and this was a heartwarming story. It was something that really hit home with me, The Incredible Burt Wonderstone.
I heard about that. I actually heard one of that in my marketing classes at UCF. We talked about that film. Was it any good?
Man, it was wonderful.
It was awesome.
I've got a 13-year-old son that can't stop watching this thing. Their budget was $30 million. Their worldwide gross was 22.5. So, I mean, they didn't make near the money that they should have on this thing. Opening weekend, they made 10.2. But Steve Carell and Jim Carrey, they brought back the magic from 2003 from Bruce Almighty.
Oh, it was so awesome.
But it wasn't. I still love that movie. It just wasn't what they thought the entire thing would be.
Yeah, it was one of those movies where if you're a film buff, if you're like someone who loves comedies, you'll love this movie. But because it wasn't full of explosions and shitty dialogue, people basically didn't flock to see it, and it was a shame. It was such a great movie, such a standout, and I applaud everyone that was in that movie. It
was full of magic. You know, that whole scene. I don't know who that was that said that they haven't seen it, or if anybody even did that. I might have just imagined that. But if you haven't seen The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, you got to watch The Trick. Now, I know it's all movies and it's all smoke and mirrors, but you got to see the magic trick at the end of that damn thing. They did a wonderful job. But I'll tell you another movie, and we may be hitting on this. We may just leave it alone. Black Nativity.
I've heard good things about it. I've heard the biggest problem that people have with it is that it deviates a lot from the actual play that it was based on. But I haven't heard anything bad per se about it. I mean, it's got people like Forrest Whitaker and Angela Bassett in it, doesn't it? I think it's... Yeah.
And even Jennifer Hudson was in this thing. But they lost, and that may be... Who is that guy that was on... not the guy that burned in the car. The guy that was on the Fast and the Furious. The black guy that was on there. I can't remember his name.
Tyrese Gibson?
Yeah, Tyrese. That was a buddy of mine. But they lost $10.5 million on this damn thing.
I'm going to assume the big reason, and it's going to go back, and I hate to talk about Tyler Perry, but I think it came out at a time where I think people are just tired of a lot of what I'm going to call the Tyler Perry-themed movies. And I know that Black Nativity doesn't fall anywhere near Tyler Perry movies, but I think because it came in that whole rush of movies like Peoples and Temptation and A Medea Christmas, I think it kind of just got lost in the fray, and people were like, ugh, it's one of those types of movies. I'm going to steer clear of it, which is unfortunate.
Now, when you say those types, are you referring to black people?
No, not in terms of people, but the very, I'm going to say it, black-centric movies. You know, there are just certain movies, like the Tyler Perry movies, that are catered to a certain audience. And I think mainstream audiences saw Black Nativity and was like, oh, this is one of, it's like a Tyler Perry movie. I'm just going to avoid it. And it's really unfortunate because there are a lot of those types of movies that came out this year, too. Like, what was that one that came out? 12 Years a Slave, I think it was. And
what?
There's other movies that came out this year like that, where it was centered around an all-black cast and stuff like that. And there have been a few that have been good, but you know, the mainstream movies like that, they've mostly been Tyler Perry movies, and they have not been good. I've heard nothing good about Temptation or A Medea Christmas or Peoples, and I think Black Nativity just kind of got lumped in with those, and it's unfortunate.
I've never seen a single Tyler Perry movie, but any movie named Temptation should star none other than the former President Bill Clinton.
Oh, you think that's bad? You should hear the whole title. The whole title is Temptation: Confessions of a Marriage Counselor.
Holy jeez. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, that's the whole title, but the marketing title was Temptation. I believe I saw that title at 2 p.m. on Cinemax one time back in the mid-2000s. I don't know.
Oh.
I have a feeling Shannon Tweed was starring in that. I don't know about you.
Love Shannon Tweed. She's all marked up now, but hey, the movie The Fifth Estate. Have you? Is that making your list here?
It was, but I don't know anything about it. I have not seen trailers for it, but
Good God! You're taking all the crappiest box office boom outs. You're taking them off the list. $28 million was their budget. Worldwide gross $8.6 million. They lost all kinds of dope things. Ooh. It was about the WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. He did all he could to make sure people steered clear of this adaptation. He leaked the script, published 4,000-word memo against the film, and the people listened. He is the whole reason. This WikiLeaks guy is crazy. He's the whole reason why nobody watched this movie.
Well, it's kind of like what happened with Kick-Ass 2. That movie, it broke even, but it was considered a big disappointment, and a lot of people blame it on Jim Carrey, his refusal to endorse the movie, that may have drawn a lot of people away from it. Yeah.
I find that hypocritical, though, because he's always saying that we shouldn't have guns, yet all these bodyguards and celebrities, either they have guns or they know how to use them, yet he's wanting people to stay away from guns altogether, yet he's in a movie that features them, and his bodyguards, apparently from what I understand, they carry guns themselves to protect it.
You know what? I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but in terms of from a business standpoint, I do think it was unfortunate that he railed against the movie, especially considering he still cashed the check for the movie. You know,
that's the point I'm trying to make. You're exploiting the money to get the movie to get the money, but then you're trying to make it political too. You're trying to drag politics into it, but it's just a movie. Just you were in the movie. Just smile, say you had a great time. It's going to be a good movie. No reason to drag the politics into it to begin with. And you're also paid to advertise the movie. You're railing it, yet you're cashing even more checks than when you actually did the movie because you're also getting paid to advertise it.
Well, like I said, the movie did at least break even, so let's hope we get a third entry in it.
Well, they had a $28 million budget, and worldwide gross was 59.6. I mean, so they made a little bit of jingle on this thing. They made 13.3 million on their opening weekend. But when you when you look at the first Kick-Ass movie came out in 2010, they made $96 million on that thing. Anytime you pull Nicolas Cage out of a movie and put Jim Carrey in it, blow it.
Well, it's been hard for Jim Carrey. I think the last successful movie that he's been in, like as far in terms of a starring role, was I believe Bruce Almighty, if I'm not mistaken, and that was
I think you might be right.
Ago.
You might be right on that.
That was
Jim Carrey making these serious movies. Like what was he in that the number 23 or the number 21 or whatever
the
that
one.
movie was?
He just like no comedy whatsoever. It was the most serious role I'd ever seen him play. But yeah, that was
completely ridiculous. He was in Man on the Moon. He acted like he was the guy that Jerry the King Lawler beat the crap out of.
Andy Kaufman?
He's taking these serious roles, and they're horrible. I don't want to see. It's like Michael Keaton when I was a kid, he came out in Batman 1989. Hell, I was 8 years old. Michael Keaton was Batman. I didn't want to see him in Jack Frost. You don't take Batman and turn him into a snowman. That's not. I don't want to see that kind of crap.
God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that movie was terrible.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was. Oh my God.
I love you, son. I'm dead. Deal with it.
It's all about that image. You just don't want to take somebody who in my opinion, Michael Keaton took that Batman role and he made it his. I mean, like I said, Michael Keaton was Batman, in my opinion. And then you don't just pull somebody out of a role like that. You can't take Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey was great, and we're going back to the Batman Forever. He was great as the Riddler. That's the kind of role. There was a little bit of he kind of integrated a little bit of
the Jim Carrey persona.
Well, the Ace Ventura persona. He kind of integrated a little bit of the Ace Ventura persona into the Riddler. That's how we want to see Jim Carrey. That's why we all laughed at it. I've got to talk about him again. My 13-year-old son, he loves the Ace Ventura movies. Then when I showed him Batman Forever, he started dying laughing because he saw Jim Carrey acting like he always does, acting like Ace Ventura. But you can't put him in these serious roles and then expect it to turn out normal. It's ridiculous.
Only a select few actors can do that. Like, to me, and I know that this guy's done a lot of garbage, but I don't mind Robin Williams when he does a serious role. He can do the silly stuff, but I don't mind when he does stuff like Good Will Hunting, Awakenings. I even like Patch Adams, and I know that's a sin because a lot of people dump on that movie. I like it.
Love Patch Adams. I love that movie.
Doug Walker will probably rape you for saying that.
Who?
The nostalgia critic. He went off on Patch Adams. He wasn't a big fan of it, but you know what? I enjoy the movie. I love his performance in Good Will Hunting. I remember his performance in Awakenings with Robert De Niro. I thought that movie was good. I mean, yeah, he's been on and off with his hits and misses, but I think he's a guy who can go from doing the silly and slapsticky to serious acting, and not many actors can really do that.
Yeah, and as serious as Patch Adams was, it had its funny moments too.
Yeah.
Especially when that bitch got killed. That was hilarious.
You know what's funny about that? They actually made that character specifically for the movie. In the original story of Hunter Adams, the doctor that it's based on, the girlfriend and the main male best friend were actually one character. In the real story, it was his male best friend that was actually killed. This girlfriend.
And that was who was that played that role? I'm losing his name. The best friend, the blonde-headed guy.
It's been years since I checked it out. Let me pull up Wikipedia.
But they'll actually say that the doctor, that the love interest was just made just to be a love interest, and she was actually a man. The character was based on a man.
Yeah, but they had his buddy in there that was actually it might have been even her buddy in the movie that went and started that little doctor's office out in the woods with her. Damn it, what is that guy's name? He's done all kind. He played that one guy that shit. Can't figure it out.
Are you talking about the guy's name is Daniel London?
No, it's a different guy.
Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Yeah, that's the guy right there. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He's another guy who's like extremely amazing as an actor, but has played some really shitty roles.
Yeah, he can either do really good or really bad.
Twister? Tubular!
He's
Fantastic!
like
Extreme!
He reminds me of the Dos Equis guy.
Yeah, that was Philip Seymour Hoffman is one of those guys when he strays away from like Oscar bait movies, he's not very good. But when he sticks to stuff like Magnolia or his role in Capote or let's see Doubt, that one where he plays a priest, like when he or The Master recently, when he sticks to like Oscar roles, he's great. When he deviates from that, he's a little hit or miss. But he's a great actor.
I agree.
Great.
Yeah, I agree.
I just saw him recently, Miguel. He was in the second Hunger Games movie, and I don't know, I kind of feel like that was another hit or miss role that he portrayed because, in my mind, it wasn't one of his best. But again, I don't know if you would call the Hunger Games Oscar worthy, but that's just me. I don't know.
Well, we'll talk about those young adult adaptations as well because there's a few on here on my list. But let's actually start going into that. Let's go into the first few movies on this list, and I'm actually including these first three all came out within the first 2 months, and I'm including all of them together because they all kind of fit a theme, and that is big budget action bombs. These are three movies that were headed by big actors at the time that did not make its money back, and I'm going to start off with a movie that I did see in the theaters, and I saw this as a midnight screening, and that's The Last Stand.
No! Well, how did that make your list?
It's $45 million budget, only made back 12 domestically. It bombed.
Oh, worldwide though, 48.3. They at least made 3 and some change on that thing.
Well, remember, like I said, when you talk about internet, when you do the worldwide gross, you have to make twice as much as that to offset the marketing. So they actually did lose money worldwide.
And people don't know this little factoid here, but this was Arnold Schwarzenegger's lowest box office opening since Junior in 1994. You know where he was pregnant?
Oh, that movie deserved to bomb, but
it did.
This one didn't though. I like this movie. This movie.
Could have the baby.
Let's stray away from Junior because I don't feel like throwing up. I just had Taco Bell.
The Last Stand, man. I love this movie. It had a little Johnny Knoxville in it, had some Schwarzenegger in it. I love this thing.
The only guy that can prove getting hit in the balls gets you a film career.
Oh man, yeah.
Burhan, you're a little bit faded back there. I don't know what happened with your microphone.
Yeah, what happened? Are you slouching?
I said that Johnny Knoxville, the only person that can prove like getting hit in the balls gets you a film career.
He plays a good side character. He was all right in Walking Tall.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm surprised he's walking after Jackass 2 and 3 and Jackass 1 fucking million.
3D.
Yeah.
3.5. Do they have another one coming? Hell, I don't want to get off on that subject. What's the next one you got on your list there?
Well, before we move on from Last Stand, I had a lot of fun with this movie. To me, it was like a low-key modern-day Western. Like, it felt like if they remade, Rio Bravo as a 90s high-octane action film. You had the stuff with the car, and it really very much is an old-school Siege movie. You've got this group of 4 or 5 people holed up in this town trying to keep the bad guys from getting through, and I actually liked it, and considering it was Arnold's first role in 9 years, he brought it. He did the best he could. Obviously, he's up there in age, but his first role back in almost a decade, you'd think would be a big selling point. And yeah, this movie didn't make much money. I hope it recoups its losses on video, but I mean, at least we got Escape Plan, him and Stallone. That made money. That was a good, pretty solid movie.
But you know what? He had one little shroud of acting talent in that movie. He actually spoke Russian with one of the guards, and his acting, the way he was emoting, everything clicked so well. And I think he's suffering from kind of the Jackie Chan effect, where he does English language movies, it sounds like he's a retard, and when he goes overseas and back in his own country, he actually sounds really good.
I can't believe you just put John Wayne, Dean Martin, and Ricky Nelson in the same category as Schwarzenegger and Johnny Knoxville. I don't know if I would throw Rio Bravo into this type of mix here. I didn't get that kind of feel from this movie. It was one of those things where it was, new age. It was, we're out in the desert where somebody's slurping their cup over there. No, it's all good. It was just weird, and it just I wouldn't throw these two in the same category at all.
Well, maybe that was a bad example, but like I said,
I'm a method actor.
I'm gonna have a baby. Yeah. Junior.
I'll make love to Sarah Connor.
My super box office smash hit monkey movie, Jingle All the Way.
Arnold, that movie came out 10 years ago. You came out 10 years ago.
You came out 10 years ago.
Put that cookie down.
I miss those Schwarzenegger bits that he used to do on Conan, the cutout Schwarzenegger mouth. Conan!
The ones on Mad TV that Will Sasso did. Will Sasso did probably the best Schwarzenegger I've probably ever seen.
Oh, hands down.
Oh, by the way, does anyone remember a very young Will Sasso in Doctor Who? He was in Doctor Who.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you remember the Doctor Who movie that they did?
Oh, the Fox pilot?
Yeah.
Oh, he was in that one?
He was actually, the morgue attendant. That was him.
Well, that's interesting. I haven't seen it. I've heard so-so things about it. Even Who fans don't even consider it to be in canon.
It is in canon. They've actually made, Stephen Moffat has actually made it in canon now.
Huh. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm not much of a Who fan. I've thought about getting into it, but that's one of those things where it's just so big.
Watch that movie and check it out, because he's like basically who he is in every little short and stuff that he does, and he's hilarious.
He was also, and people don't know this, he was also in Happy Gilmore and Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm the stat man over here, guys. I'm looking shit up as we speak.
I do appreciate it, man. I thought I brought my A game to the table, but I mean, Clint's just blowing me out of the water, man. I'm glad that we brought you on at the last minute, man. I really am.
Yeah, don't let me fool you. Yeah.
All right. And on that note, let's go to the next big action movie, which I'm actually surprised that this didn't make as much money as it should have, considering it's got a great cast, and that's Parker. Jason Statham, Jennifer Lopez, Michael Chiklis is the bad guy. Cost $35 million, only made back 17 domestically.
It was shit.
In total, I believe it made $45 million, which wasn't enough to offset its worldwide release. I don't know. I mean, when you got Statham in the main role, you got freaking Vic Mackey as the villain and Jennifer Lopez as the side character.
Oh.
You'd think that would be enough of a cast to really sell this movie, but I don't know. I guess it just didn't click with audiences.
Does anyone actually understand that Jason Statham can't act?
Hey,
any movie with Jason Statham in the main role is a freaking winner. I don't care what anybody. It's like putting It's like putting Harry Carey on the microphone. Hey!
Jason Statham is great when he's kung fuing shit up, not when he's talking.
I can agree to that, but I'm still a big fan of his.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
He's
good.
an action star. I think he would have done a lot better in the 90s when like action movies were going like fucking hotcakes.
Oh, him back in the days of like Seagal and Van Damme, he would have been a huge star.
Yeah. I think he would have been freaking even bigger than
Man.
Seagal.
No, that's blasphemy right there. You can't put him in the same category as Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal is probably the greatest actor of all time. He's better than John Wayne.
I was chained by an ancient Chinese master in the Twin Peaks streets.
The last 25 years I've been in law enforcement.
I'm going to take you to the bank, Senator. The blood bank. That's an actual line from Hard to Kill, I believe, is the movie.
I think our impressions are going to carry this show.
Yeah,
I agree. You guys got that down without a doubt.
Well, Nick, did you get a chance to
we've
see
been
Parker?
working on these for a long time there, Nick. So
Parker,
I hope you guys,
no, unfortunately not.
Any of you guys see Parker?
What the hell? I've got a little cousin named Parker.
I know Peter Parker.
I haven't had a chance to see it, and it's actually a remake for most people don't know. It's actually a remake of the Mel Gibson movie Payback. It's based off the same book.
Mel Gibson. What a racist bastard Mel Gibson is.
But he's such a good actor.
What?
Wait, you mean Mel Bourbon Gibson?
Mel, yeah. Hey, what about R.I.P.D.? Is that bitch on the list?
We're going to get to that, trust me.
Yes! Thank you.
I love R.I.P.D. No, I don't actually. It was shit.
Was that was R.I.P.D. Was that a remake of that deal where what's his name, Bridges, where he came back as the John Wayne character when he you know what I'm talking about?
Oh God, Jeff Bridges, he was terrible in that. They had no chemistry.
He sounded like Mountain Man from Duck Dynasty. Though.
What
Get
the
the bad guys there, Willie.
I'll be done. Can I get some water?
I mean, his
according to
voice
this,
was so
R.I.P.D.
stupid in
is
that
based on the comic book of the same name. Doesn't mention anything about a remake it was based on, but probably have to dig a little deeper into that.
It was like
the same name. I thought it was
like a wannabe Men in Black movie. Yeah.
Yeah. With bad CGI.
Yeah.
Terrible.
The CGI was, oh God. Yeah.
What were the numbers on that one, Miguel?
The numbers.
$130 million budget, $78.3 million worldwide. Opening weekend, 12.7.
It only made $33 million here in the States, and let's talk about that movie because I was actually going to go on to the next action movie, but yeah, I saw that movie in the theaters. I had a lot of high hopes going into it because I'm like, oh man, it's Men in Black mixed with Ghostbusters. This is going to be awesome, and
oh no, I
don't know, man. Jeff Bridges was just way too cartoony for my taste. I've never been a fan of Ryan Reynolds as a leading actor. I think he's
shut your whole mouth.
No. I think Ryan Reynolds is a great sidekick character when he's able to like bounce off of a serious role, like
Van Wilder. Hello.
Yeah, but that was as a comedy. In terms of like an action lead, you know.
I thought that was serious. I thought.
I thought Van Wilder was.
And Miguel,
let
me put it in retrospective.
What are you talking about?
Do you know who was originally cast as the role that Jeff Bridges ultimately played?
Zach Galifianakis.
John Wayne.
Yeah,
but he was dead.
Zach Galifianakis was originally going to be cast as the
I think that would have been a better choice. He would have been a better choice.
Me?
The chemistry would have been a lot better. The reason why Reynolds didn't really work in this movie, one, his character was devoid of any stole something and then gets freaking killed after he's like, oh, okay, I want to give it back. I'm going to give it back. So,
what's with the hot chick and the Chinese guy? What I just don't get that part. I didn't see this movie, but I saw the preview.
Well, what happened was, right, he gets killed by Kevin Bacon, by the way, who's the only thing that saves this movie. Barely saves this movie. I will say that. He gets shot. He's lying there basically dead after, like, a deal gone wrong. His partner shoots him. He goes up into heaven, gets partnered with Bridges. They come back down, and they have to be given IDs while they're on Earth. Jeff Bridges is the hot chick, and he's, like, this little freaking weird Chinese man.
It's a disguise, basically.
Yeah, and because they don't want people seeing who they really are, because like your people been at your funeral and shit, they don't want to see like you. So it goes through all of that, and this is the thing. It's just badly written, bad direction, bad CGI. Reynolds was not the worst thing in this movie, but he had no character depth. There was no reason why we needed to feel sorry for his character. There was no reason why we wanted to say, oh, poor guy, fuck off, you stole something and then got shot in the back. That should have been the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's a poorly written character, no chemistry between the main characters, and honestly, the humor, a lot of the one-liners and the comedy just kind of felt flat to me. Like,
yeah.
It just kind of lingered there, and you're supposed to laugh at it, but there's not enough there. Like, it's the verbal equivalent of a bad fart.
Yeah.
It should be funny, but it just stinks.
Nobody likes a bad fart. Hey, I want to remind everybody the chat room is open on the website. Also, the guest call-in line 718-664-9265 if you want to call in and talk about some of these crazy-ass movies we're talking about. 2013, the biggest box office blunders of the year.
And if you are the nostalgia critic, a.k.a. Doug Walker, and you want to call in, Doug. Come on, you want to.
Miguel, I'm going to get off the line now so guests can call in, but thanks for having me, guys.
Damn it, Nick!
No, we can have multiple people on. You can stay on the line, right?
Hell, we've got 17 people listening live right now.
Yeah, if you guys are listening in,
make
sure. Yeah, we could definitely use your insight there, Nick. This is actually really fun.
Yeah, unless you've got some drugs you need to go smoke or a woman to go play with, then stay on the line.
Fuck your woman.
He's got to work tonight, so I'm free and I don't do drugs. I'm staying.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough, man.
Guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to call in, you can call in on 718-664-9265. Call in, discuss movies, talk about how Miguel's sexy voice is. Just get in here. Come and have a conversation with us people about movies, and all things movies, including box office blunders. Do you really believe, I want to ask a question out to everybody out there in film land, do you believe that we're right and that Ryan Reynolds was terrible, that Miguel was right on that one? Or do you side with me here and think he wasn't the worst thing in the movie, that it was just badly written and bad script writing like Green Lantern?
Yeah, I'll say Green Lantern was Ryan Reynolds' fault.
Who was that fat guy in the Green Lantern? Wasn't that one of the guys that was in like 22 Jump Street or something?
You talking about Jonah Hill?
Yeah, I'm sick of that guy. What's the deal with him? Why is he so funny?
Because he's fat.
I kind of feel like Superbad kind of made him. Because after that, nobody could stop talking about him.
Well, let me tell you about these fat guys that are funny. I never thought anybody would come along like Chris Farley. Never thought that would ever happen. But let me tell you about the funniest fat man on the face of the earth. He's a gentleman on Saturday Night Live right now by the name of Bobby Moynihan. Have you guys seen this cat?
Nope.
It's been a while since I've seen SNL.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
The role he does, Drunk Uncle. Look up some of this stuff. Bobby Moynihan is seriously probably the funniest fat dude on the face of the earth right now, in my opinion.
As long as he doesn't die from a drug overdose, then I'm fine with that.
I think he's cool. He might get drunk every once in a while, but
or heat stroke.
There's going to be no speedballs for this guy.
Yeah, I'll say this about Jonah Hill. He's starting to do more serious roles. He's in that new Wolf of Wall Street movie, the new Scorsese flick. I haven't heard anything bad about it, so I'm gonna we'll see how it goes, but it might be the case that he might be deviating from it, although they just released the trailer for 22 Jump Street. So
terrible. Horrible.
I like 21 Jump Street. 21 Jump Street was funny.
21 Jump Street was funny, but it had no business being called 21 Jump Street.
Let me tell you what was a good movie, and it's kind of like that. It was the one that stripper guy, Magic Mark or whatever his name is, he was in. Yeah, he was in that one thing with that guy that was in Brokeback Mountain. They were cops. You remember that movie?
Was it called Brokeback PD?
No, they were. I think it was Channing Tatum. I'm not sure. Might not have been. It was the cat that was the one that's still alive that didn't kill himself. from Brokeback Mountain, and it was like a documentary type of movie. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I swear to you, if it turns out to be Brokeback PD and I end up watching Gay Frogs,
no, it's not. It's not anything.
I'm going to cry. Okay, I will cry.
Documentary style cop movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. Are you talking about End of Watch?
Yes, End of Watch. Holy shit balls! You guys got to see this movie if you haven't seen it. End of Watch.
I've heard it's good.
I mean, fuck.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro.
No, you're good. I just didn't mean to say download it because that's illegal.
Yeah, it is illegal. We don't condone his habits. And if you're from the FBI and you notice what he's doing, just take him away and get him sexually molested by a panda.
Stop downloading shit, Nick.
Yeah.
I don't.
Legit.
Anymore.
Buy your movies like everyone else.
All right, let's move on to the final action bomb that I was talking about in my series of 3. The final one. This one failed huge. $55 million, made ballpark $9.5 million domestically, and that's Bullet to the Head with Sylvester Stallone. I don't know what to say about this one. It's Stallone.
Stallone looked good in it.
Yeah, I heard Stallone was all right in it. Honestly, here's the thing though, and I think I know why this movie bombed. I blame Stallone, and the reason I blame him is because one of the things you need to understand is when you hire a guy like Sylvester Stallone to do your movie, you pretty much have to realize you're giving up your movie to Stallone. I mean,
yeah, because he's always rewriting shit.
Yeah, basically, for those of you that don't know, this movie was actually supposed to be released about a year before it ended up being released. It was supposed to be released in, let me see what I have written. It was supposed to be released, actually a year. Yeah, it was a full year before it was supposed to be released, last year. And what happened was Stallone did not like the cut that Walter Hill made, who directed it, so he took the movie from Walter Hill, he re-edited it, and released it as is. Now, I don't know if Hill's version is better or worse, but you know what? That's the risk you make when you bring on Sylvester Stallone. He's going to do that.
Well, all I'm going to say to Stallone is, Stallone,
step away from the duck.
He's a liability anymore. Stallone is a huge liability to movies.
He was always a liability to movies. As soon as you got a little bit of clout.
Well, it's like this one movie that just came out with him and Robert De Niro. I mean, who wants to see Stallone in a serious role in like a
serious?
stupid?
You talking about remake?
Rocky versus Raging Bull.
A stupid remake. Nah, man, it's a remake of Rocky. Only he's not. He's not doing that whole damn thing. It's just
Wait,
it's all. It's
you talking
weird
about Grudge Match?
Yes, that was terrible.
Honestly, I think in terms of Stallone, I think his drawing power as a star, as a singular star, is pretty much done. And I think the reason you're getting movies like Grudge Match, Escape Plan, and the Expendables movies is because he realizes he needs more than one actor to bounce off of. He can't head a movie just on the name Sylvester Stallone alone.
Has anyone actually seen the Expendables movie? Every time the guy talks, he sounds like he's got Tourette's.
Hey, I love the Expendables movies. Those are like live action cartoons for me, man.
But the thing is, the big draw of the Expendables movie is shit blows up. The acting talent is not the draw of this movie.
That's what people want to see. They either want to see some shit blow up. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Clint.
No, go ahead.
I was saying the first time that the first one came out, I went with a bunch of friends from the night premiere, including Chris. We actually were trying to guess how many explosions were going to occur during the movie. We're actually trying to see who could get the closest. And our friend Benji was the closest with 15. I believe it was 17 total. That's the whole thing we were focusing on, was counting on. That's all it was explosions.
Well, that's what people pay to see. People, they want to see.
That is true.
Especially when Stallone is involved. You either want to see things explode, you want to see things get shot, or you want to see things get knocked out and laying on the canvas. That's all a Stallone movie is all about.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen a Stallone comedy that's ever been good.
Has he ever made a comedy? What the hell comedy?
I doubt it.
Really?
No, he has. He's done. There was in the 80s.
Stop Or My Mom Will Shoot.
Stop Or My Mom Will Shoot. There was,
yeah, that had that hot chick from the Golden Girls. Yeah, that was a great movie.
Okay. That's just nasty.
had
Thank you for being a friend. Oh yeah.
there was that movie. There was Oscar by John Landis. There was Rhinestone back in the early '80s. So
I didn't mind Oscar too much. Oscar was fine.
it was John Landis directing it. So Landis is actually not a bad comedic director. But he's done so many of these comedies, and they've really not been very good. I had no intention of seeing Grudge Match, and based off of the review that Brad Jones did, the Cinema Snob, he said it's one of the worst movies he's seen this year. So I'm going to take that to heart. But
Expendables 4.
Oh, well, yeah. It goes back to what I said. Unless he's doing a movie with another big name actor, I don't think he can draw anymore. I think people are done with Stallone as a singular star, and I think Bullet to the Head was that choice because there wasn't anybody else in that movie save for I think Christian Slater was a supporting actor in there.
Oh God.
And the movie flopped hard because of it. I mean, it lost $40 million of its budget.
Second lowest opening grossing of all time.
Yeah, I mean
His
it
lowest
bombed hard.
in 32 years.
I don't put it past him. I mean, this movie was a big flop, and maybe Stallone will go back to doing writing and directing because I mean we mock his acting ability, but the man does have an Oscar. He won an.
That doesn't mean anything. My God, what does Oscar mean? I mean they handles out like they're like $2 bills these days. I mean everybody gets an Oscar.
What did he get the Oscar for?
Screenwriting. He wrote Rocky.
He can't even get an Oscar for acting. This dude's been in more movies than Davy Crockett, and he can't even.
Have you seen his acting? There's a reason why. He's like the Kanye West of acting.
Dude, Kanye is some hot shit. I mean, he's one of the best there is out there. You can't compare somebody horrible.
But you mean the best out there by calling himself Jesus, right?
No, he's the greatest of all time. He's better than Beyonce.
I think he's mentally insane. That's what Kanye is, and I think Stallone's with him. You know, at the end of the day, with Stallone, he was always that guy. I watched him in Rambo because he didn't say shit. He just went around killing people, which was awesome.
That was the best role that Stallone could possibly be in when he doesn't have to say a word. When you got it's kind of, man, who else am I thinking of? There's somebody else in the world that the best role they ever play is when they don't have to say anything, and I'm trying to think of who it is. Probably George W. Bush, but yeah,
Stallone, Bush has been playing everyone, man. He was the most intelligent motherfucker in the world. He just played a retard so well.
We're trying to stay away from these evil doers.
It was like a Kaiser Sozig, you know.
Yeah, he was like a Scary Movie. What was that guy's name? Doopy. No one disturb me while I'm cleaning my room.
The vacuum cleaner. The
David Arquette ripoff. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guy,
I think was his name.
Smell this. Hey, what's that? That's the smell of being a man. Hey, smell this. Oh my God, what's that? My ass?
But yeah, I'll say this about Stallone. I think his best I think the best role I've ever seen him in was in Rocky Balboa. I mean, he was doing some pretty solid method acting in that one. That was the sixth Rocky movie.
But again, as I said, it wasn't more Stallone, it was more the visuals. The fact, I think the best thing he could have done for that movie was kill off Adrian, because it gave Rocky purpose.
Speaking of killing people, we've got 20 people listening live right now. This is the first ever episode of the Untitled Movie Show. We're talking about the biggest box office blunders of 2013. The call-in number 718-664-9265. We got Michael Burhan. We got Nick down in Orlando. We got Miguel in Port Richey. And my name is Clint Davis, and I'm sitting in sunny, actually it's icy and dark, Roland, Oklahoma, if anybody knows where that shit is.
And he's afraid that he's going to get raped at some point in the dark.
Horribly, yes, by Stallone. Yeah.
That's Schwarzenegger. So he's raping you while Schwarzenegger's watching.
He's doing the impression, and you guys know how we love to do.
No, get him in the bum hole.
No.
Give him a Pacific Rim.
Yeah. That damn Pacific Rim, that shit's never gonna die.
That's funny.
What else we got on the list? We're out of the action movies.
Yeah,
Miguel?
we're out of the action leads, so let's go on to another group of 3 that I've got. These are the young adult adaptations. We had 3 big ones. These are based off of those, like young adult type of books, basically Twilight ripoffs. There were a lot of them this year to try to capitalize now that the series has ended. And I'm going to start with the big one. I'm going to start with The Host. This was this was Stephenie Meyer's big follow-up series to Twilight. $40 million $40 million budget, $26 million domestically, $21 million internationally. Didn't break even. I've heard nothing good. I've heard this movie pretty much has made the list of one of the worst movies ever made. I've just heard it's poorly written, poorly acted. I've heard the story makes no sense. I've just heard nothing good about this movie.
This movie makes Troll 2 look like an Oscar contender.
Have you seen it?
That was one of the best movies of all time. I got to disagree. With this.
He's eating him alive.
I give this thing, I'm going to give it a 9.2 out of 10 stars. The Host, I got to say, adventure, romance, and sci-fi. It doesn't get much better than that, guys.
Were you high?
Yes.
Okay, that's the reason. This made Twilight look like a good movie. This film was terrible. It was terrible.
And it's all about, in the storyline here, when an unseen enemy threatens mankind by taking over their bodies and erasing their memories.
And then falls in love with someone.
Melanie, who's the hot chick on the cover, Melanie will risk everything to protect the people she cares most about, proving that love can conquer all in a dangerous new world. So, here's the deal. If aliens are coming down from outer space, right, and you got a hot chick, she's a brunette, right, and she only gives a shit about the people who she loves. Like everybody else, they can all just go to hell. So she is going to keep these people who she loves from getting their memories erased and their bodies taken over by these aliens. I am sick of aliens.
Especially illegal aliens. Taking our jobs.
Yes, North Mexico is Texas now.
That's what The Host was about. It was a kind of a commentary on Mexicans.
Well, you guys over in London are taking most of our jobs, so I don't appreciate that, Burhan. I'm
sorry. Sportscast on XFI. I know they're outsourcing. Yeah. I'm just like, welcome to XFI, where I know nothing about MMA. Someone broke a leg.
That's good stuff, yeah. Oh, shoot. We got a show going on tomorrow, XFI. Anyway, back to the movies. What do we got?
Nick, you got anything you want to add to The Host?
I saw Stephenie Meyer's name on it. I didn't even bother.
She is hot, dude.
But it sounds like I should have, according to Clint, I should check it out.
Yes, you definitely need to see it. Stephenie Meyer, she was born in Connecticut back in 1973. Her family settled in Phoenix, Arizona by the time she was 4 years old. And just a great...
Does she have any nude pics? That's all I need to know.
She went to school. She went to high school in Scottsdale, Arizona. She was awarded the National Merit Scholarship. She used it to pay her way to Brigham Young University in Utah.
Brigham Young.
Yes, where they have multiple wives out there. She's 5 feet 4 inches tall. That's kind of hot. I don't know about you guys.
She's kind of pudgy. That's pretty nice.
Well,
like got the boobies out there. Yeah, no, she does need some love. Yeah. Oh, there's an ugly pic of her. Damn, that girl needs to... Oh, back to normal pics. That's better. Just like Troll.
Plenty of love. She's a vegetarian. She is married to Christian Pancho Meyer. Now, don't get him confused with Eric Estrada from Chips.
Just saying.
Sausage. Daddy, would you like some sausage? She's a feminist. She says...
okay, that's it.
One of her... Yeah, me too. This is one of her personal quotes. Everybody has a little bit different definition, but to me... What I think it should be is that you shouldn't have to do anything or not be able to do anything because you're a woman.
Okay, I'll tell you what, right? When the men get equal rights for women on childcare, then come talk to me, Stephanie. Look,
I'll say this about it. For somebody who claims to be a feminist, she created probably one of the least feminist characters in literary history with Bella Swan. That is the least feminist character I've ever seen. Just crazy, emotionally dependent, slightly manipulative. I mean, I think Doug Walker said it best. If Bella Swan was written as a villain, she'd be the greatest villainess of all time.
Yeah.
If you really read between the lines of the Twilight series. But, the host didn't do well, but I think it did better than some of these other ones. The next one is Mortal Instruments. $60 million budget, $31 million domestically, $49 million internationally. This movie felt like, yeah, we're a young adult movie, but we're going to cater to the boyfriends of all the girls that are going to watch this. We're going to be all cool and mysterious, and it almost seemed like somebody was like, let's take Twilight and combine it with Underworld or Constantine or something.
Can I just say, what's it called again?
Mortal Instruments.
Is this
Take my Mortal Instrument.
Yeah, it's Mortal
Yeah.
Instruments. It's Mortal Instruments City of Bones, yeah.
This thing got 6 stars out of 10, and the storyline, for people who are not familiar with this, I definitely wasn't. I had to look this thing up. When her mother disappears, Clary Frey learns that she descends from a line of warriors who protect our world from demons. This is getting even better. We've gone out of aliens and we've gone to demons. She joins forces with others like her and heads into a dangerous alternate New York called Downworld.
See, this whole movie, I've seen the trailers about it. If this movie had more adult actors and maybe was more of a rougher PG, it could be a solid B movie. It seems like something that the Underworld producers would make, like that I, Frankenstein movie.
Yeah.
Like it would seem that, but you could just tell from what I saw in the trailers that this movie was clearly pegged for teenagers, young adults, and I think that's what drew a lot of people out of it. Honestly, like I said, if this movie were handled a little bit more rougher, got some, more seasoned actors, this could have been a pretty decent B movie.
Who would you have cast in a movie like this? If you had, what do we got? We got Lily Collins, Jamie Campbell Bower, Robert Sheehan. We've got 3 people here. Well, probably 4 main characters. If you were taking a movie like The Mortal Instruments, and anybody can answer this, Nick, Burhan, or Miguel, you guys, whoever wants to take this thing, who would you have put 3 leading performers that you would have put in these top roles here?
Well, considering we're talking about Constantine, I probably would have taken the main male character and cast Keanu Reeves just to be safe.
What?
I didn't mind him in Constantine. I thought he was all right.
Well, that is safe. You're right. That's a safe pick. I would have taken. I'll tell you who I would have gotten: Matt Damon and that other guy, Bradoff Pitler. I would have taken him. I would have put those 2 guys in there. Bradoff Pitler.
I'd have to check that out then. I'm not familiar with that actor.
That's Brad Pitt.
Oh, okay.
He took Brad Pitt and Adolf Hitler's name to combine them, Miguel.
Yes, Bradoff Hitler. That was in, what was that, the guy that shows his balls in every movie? Oh, God.
Mark Wahlberg?
No, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. It was, that one guy with the mustache, the Ali G guy.
Oh, Sacha Baron Cohen.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, that was in Borat. Yeah, Bradoff Pitler. Or no, maybe that was in Bruno. Yeah, that was in Bruno. That was one of the best movies ever.
All right, yeah, but like I said, Mortal Instruments, I don't know what to really say. I think after the failure of The Host, a lot of these young adult novels, I think, really suffered from it, which leads us into the third movie, which is Beautiful Creatures. $60 million budget, $19 million domestically. I don't know what to say about this movie. I mean, the only actor I recognize is Jeremy Irons, and
wonderful actor, by the way.
He's a wonderful actor. I think he's very underrated, but it's just nothing about this movie really drew me in. To me, at least with Mortal Instruments, there's a cool supernatural twist to it. This just seemed like Twilight with witches. It just didn't have anything going for me, and this movie barely made a third of its budget back in the theaters here in the States. Have you guys seen this movie or heard anything about it? I honestly have nothing to add to this.
No.
No.
All right, then Burhan, you got anything you want to add?
He's sleeping.
No.
All right, then we're gonna deviate from the groups and just go on to the real meat of this list. So let's start off with a massive vanity project. I mean, you can't tell me that this wasn't a vanity project for Will Smith and his son, and that's After Earth.
Suck my massive.
Oh, I hate those two. They're
M.
getting
Night
so old.
Shyamalan Ding Dong, right?
Ah!
Making god-awful movies.
No.
He
Burhan-
makes Will Smith
He didn't start off
sound
awful.
like...
The
Burhan,
Sixth Sense is probably one of the best movies I've ever
He
seen.
believed in the fucking hype. He believed that he was the next Spielberg.
No, Burhan, I hate to cut you off, but I'm going to defend Shyamalan because this...
Why?
Because
this is going to be good.
Yeah.
It's Shamalama Ding Dong. Get it straight.
This movie was a Will Smith project through and through. He wrote the story. He wrote part of the screenplay, and then Shyamalan cleaned it up a bit. And from what I've heard from the behind the scenes, Will Smith was armchair directing this entire movie. So this is very much a Will Smith movie that he just happened to call Shyamalan in to kind of just be the face of it, which is unfortunate because
or for someone to take the heat with the movie bombed.
Yeah,
so he didn't.
Smith has been out directly saying that Shamalama Ding Dong was the reason. Shalala was the reason why the movie itself bombed.
Oh, he's deflecting, is what it is. You know,
I have to defend Will Smith here because you're right, Miguel. This was a story all about how his life got turned upside down.
And you better take a minute and sit right there, tell you how to get the mentality
Oh, man.
To me, this movie was Will Smith going, I'm going to buy a movie, I'm going to hire a relatively named director, and I'm going to use it as a platform to promote my son, because they tricked people to come into this. You know, it was promoted as a Will Smith movie. For those of you that haven't seen the movie, Will Smith doesn't really do much in it. He gets injured within the first act, and it's very much carried by his son, Jaden Smith, who I can't really say is a bad actor, but he's just not ready. Like, he clearly needs another few years of acting before he can lead a movie by himself.
You know what the issue is with Jaden Smith? He's basically doing more than one thing. He doesn't decide what he wants to do. I want to be an actor. Oh, I want to be a hip-hop star. Oh, I want to fucking be this, and I want to do that. Here's a fucking idea. Pick it and stick to it. Right? It's not like I'm going to sit there and go, oh, I want to be an actor. Hey, I want to be a fucking astronaut. No. You stick to what you know. Do it. Get good at it. That's why Will Smith quit rapping. So he could focus his damn talents on acting.
Nah, Jaden is supposed to be fetching beers and slippers. I mean, he's still a punk kid, and he, you know, he should be out playing baseball and learning how to play some hoops, like the Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Or go to fucking college.
Or something. I mean, damn, he's a terrible actor. I don't like any movie that he's in. I won't watch him. I'm on a boycott. I'm on a Smith boycott.
What? I had someone say to me once, right, a friend of mine, on his status, if Jackie Chan is the best thing in a movie, you know there's a problem.
Yeah, there was no that whole Karate Kid remake was just unnecessary, and to me,
and he was learning fucking kung fu.
Yeah, I mean,
it was titled The Karate Kid.
It to me, like I said, that's a perfect example of my problem with Will Smith nowadays. Is he's kind of become a pageant dad. You know, he buys up these movies and uses his clout to get names onto it, just to profile his children. I mean, you guys heard about his plans to remake Annie. He was
what?
Yeah, with his daughter playing Annie.
Let me guess, it's a black Annie. It's going to be a it's going to be a black Annie.
It was actually going to be co-financed with him and Jay-Z. He was teaming up with Jay-Z.
Jay-Z's supposed to play a part in it, isn't he too?
Oh yeah. And like I said, it's he's buying up these movie licenses so he can profile his children. You know, he's a big budget pageant mom, and I just wish he would just go back to just making solid action movies like he has. You know, hopefully with Bad Boys 3 in development, that'll be the case because that's one of the movies I am looking forward to. So
you know what I would like? I would like if him and his kids took a break, go to Disneyland, visit something with the family, just stop putting your kids down everyone's throats. Will, it's a bad mistake. You don't want to do that because in the end of the day, your kids are going to end up either having a crack habit or basically being another Justin Bieber Or at the worst comes to worst, they're going to resent you because everyone's going to hate them and throw tomatoes at them and swear at them and threaten to kill them and stuff. It's stupid. Just stop it. Stop it now before they end up getting emotionally scarred.
And nobody cares about him. Like we don't give a shit. Like I know he's real proud, and Will Smith is all like, these are my babies, and nobody cares. Like we just don't. They're not good. They don't act worth a crap.
Or Sing, there was that whole him trying to get his daughter a rap contract, which thankfully Thankfully,
whip your hair back and forth. Whip your hair back and forth.
I'll give Willow credit. She actually refused to take it. She actually told her parents she did not want to continue an acting career. She just wanted to be a regular kid. So ups to Willow Smith. She had the balls to actually do that. Maybe Jaden might actually have the balls one day to say like, listen, I don't want to do acting right now. I'm not ready for it.
No, he's a camera whore.
If the
thing is,
movie or two like after, that might be happening.
The biggest thing for him to do, go to university or something, go to drama school. If you're really considering being a great actor, do that. Because everything you're doing at the moment stinks. He was like, the worst thing about it as well was the whole thing was him going through this journey to prove that his dad was an asshole. That was the whole film. The whole film, if you watch the Nostalgia Critic go on about it as well, he proves the whole film is literally him going through a journey with his dad saying, man up, son, man up. And then he finds his dad, they meet each other again, he gives him a hug, and it's like, Dad, you're a douche.
No, he's always been a douche. My God. He's a camera whore, just like I said. Camera whore, big time. Both of them. Anybody in the... who I've got more respect for is actually the wife. What's her name? Jada Pinkett?
Yeah, Jada Pinkett Smith.
Oh, yeah. What a hottie that one is. Good Lord.
I just need the Smiths out of my life. Seriously. I would really like to take a break from the Smiths. If they could... If Will and his family just went away for a bit.
Did any of you guys see Jada Pinkett Smith attempt a career in metal? Like she actually had a metal band.
I heard about that. Yeah, she has a
Wicked
rock
Wisdom.
band.
What?
She's got a rock
Jada
band.
Pinkett Smith was the lead singer of a metal band called Wicked Wisdom. They actually did an Ozfest tour once.
Well, I mean, did she at least look good while she was singing, or what?
Yeah, she did. So, I mean, that alone right there.
Well, I'll take it.
Yeah, but, she still sucked balls.
She's going to be my next Woman Crush Wednesday, that Jada Pinkett Smith. Yeah.
What isn't enough for you, Clint, is it? What isn't enough?
Well, I've got to try out with the Oak Ridge Boys to take over for the Giddy Up Oom Papa Mau Mau guy. So I think after that takes place, then I'll go after Hollywood.
All I'm saying is Shalama Lama Ding Dong had his name on this thing, so he deserves getting like some of the shit on this.
Well,
he
you know
get
what?
Some of Jada Pinkett Smith.
I would defend Shyamalan, but I've got 2 words for you on that regard. Airbender.
Suck it.
Oh God!
Enough said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was that movie really it brought the whole new term to being Shyamalan.
Yeah, that was a terrible movie, but
I coined the phrase Shyamalan.
Shyamalan and cheese sandwich.
You should.
Hey, folks. Hey, the call-in number, 718-664-9265. This is the first ever episode of the, what is this thing, the Untitled Movie Show?
Yeah.
It is, and it's actually, so far so good.
This is a beautiful entity right here. I mean, we got to get some folks to call in. So, hey, if you're on your phones, you want to call in, we got about, what do we got, about 32 minutes left, 718-664-9265. My name is Clint Davis, and I am as beautiful as ever. We got Michael Burhan. We got Nick down in Orlando, and we've got Miguel, the host of this damn thing, and we're doing it. We're doing it to it.
We are doing it to it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this, man, and we're moving on to the next big movie, and that is a movie that actually, this movie was set to be released in June of 2012. It was delayed a full year. It came out March of 2013, and that's originally titled Jack the Giant Killer, released as Jack the Giant Slayer.
Oh, God. I know who made this fucking movie.
Bryan Singer.
Oh.
$195 million budget, $65 million domestically.
Is this about the guy from Duck Dynasty?
Gas.
No. This is the Jack and the Beanstalk remake. This
Seriously?
is like, yeah. And
We made a movie about this shit?
This
And that-
movie
they
gave
did.
me cancer.
this actually, I think what hurt this movie was the fact that the Warner Brothers didn't know how to market this movie. You saw trailers where that marketed it as like an adventure movie for kids, and then you had trailers that were marketing as like an edgy fairy tale revival, and they didn't know who they wanted to market this movie to.
You know what this movie was? It was a bad version of Attack on Titan for kids.
I wouldn't mind actually seeing a live-action version of Attack on Titan, to be honest with you.
No, but
Done
this
right.
was a bad version. This was a Bryan Singer, I'm fucking got an ego, look at how amazing I am. That's why he's walked back to Fox, crawling on his hands and knees, giving the Fox executives a blowjob so he can do another X-Men movie.
Love blowjobs. You know, where they went wrong was putting Ewan McGregor as a third-string actor in this damn thing. And if people aren't familiar with this, the storyline plot here, the ancient war between humans and a race of giants is reignited when Jack, a young farmhand fighting for a kingdom, and the love of a princess opens a gateway between the two worlds. Now, I'm going to tell you firsthand, where every movie goes wrong is when they put a woman in the storyline. It's just like Batman, you know, like all the Batman movies. Like you put Nicole Kidman in there. You put who that other lady that was in that movie with Harrison Ford where she was dead, she was underwater. What was that thing?
Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah,
oh, no, that
Michelle
was
Pfeiffer.
good. That was good. I disagree on that one.
No. But, you know, you get these ladies in these storylines, and the movie goes to shit. That's where this thing went downhill.
Well, this movie had a pretty solid cast. You had Ewan McGregor, Stanley Tucci, Bill
Nicholas
Knight.
Holt.
Yeah. I mean, it had a solid cast. I think the problem is that it did get delayed for so long that by the time it did come out, people just didn't care. You know, had it come out around the same time that you had movies like Snow White and the Huntsman and all these other like fairy tale revivals, Mirror Mirror for that regard, I think it probably would have been just as big a hit. But they delayed it for so long that by the time it popped up again, people were like, "Oh, then yeah, that movie popped up. I don't care."
I think where they went
by that
wrong
time
was
they were sick and tired of fairy tale remakes.
They had two guys named Ewan and one guy named Ian. That's where they went wrong.
Yeah, that could be it. I mean, it's I don't know what to say. I defend Bryan Singer. I don't think he's that bad of an actor. I do think he has a bit of an ego for on himself, especially post Superman Returns. But you know, I'll say this: if it gets Brett Ratner away from the X-Men franchise, I'm glad to see him back. I will defend him.
Oh
in that
yeah,
regard.
I agree. That's a big mistake there.
I had to deal with Brett Ratner.
Yeah.
If anyone actually watches Sonic for Hire, you'd get that joke.
Yeah, I'll say this though. I'm excited for Days of Futures Past. I mean,
I cannot wait.
I was against it given how much X3 just angered me, and then I saw that they were actually going to bring in the Sentinels and actually show some respect for that, and I'm like, sold, done, you got me.
Have you seen how gay the Sentinels look?
It's the Sentinels, dude. It's better than it's got to be better than what they did with them in X3 with that whole beginning thing with the training simulator and whatnot. That angered me like right off from there, and then God, that movie was terrible.
X3 for me was like watching a bowel movement live on screen. Yeah. That was it. It was. I sat there and I came out the movie and I watched it with my ex-sister-in-laws at the time, and they were going, "That was a good movie, wasn't it?" I just looked at them and I felt like punching someone in the face. It was terrible.
I guess that she's your ex for a reason, huh? Or ex-sister-in-law.
Bam.
Yeah. It was just like they were sitting there looking at me and go, "Well, that was a good movie." I'm just looking at them like, "Don't talk to me. Just don't fucking talk to me."
Hey, I got something funny to read you guys. My son just sent me a message on Facebook, and if this thing will ever freaking load, what is wrong with this thing? It says, if a girl ever pulls a knife on you during an argument, pull out some bread and mayo. Her woman instincts will kick in, and she'll make you a sandwich.
Yeah, that's how they should have ended X3.
That's my boy.
Went,
13 years old, that kid. 7th grade, man.
Wolverine should have just went, Gene,
He's already learned.
here's a bread, here's some butter, make me a sandwich. And then that's how the movie would have ended.
Well, I'm excited.
I still try to find redeeming qualities in that movie, and I just can't. I just cannot.
I will say one redeeming quality of that movie. Kelsey Grammer as Beast. I did like Kelsey Grammer's performance in there.
Kelsey Grammer sucks. Way overrated. I hate that guy. Definitely overrated.
I thought he was okay as Beast. I haven't seen the new one. I avoided First Class because X3 angered me, but I am excited for Days
No,
of
dude, it's good. It's good.
First Class. When X3 dropped the ball, First Class picked that ball and fucking ran with it.
I'll have to check into
it. It is good, Miguel. Check it out.
All right. Okay.
And Bryan Singer did not direct it.
No, he didn't.
He was a producer on that.
Well, speaking of fart noises and poo, let's get on to probably the biggest bomb this year. This movie cost $215 million, and I'm surprised this piece of garbage made back $89 million. The Lone Ranger.
Oh, God.
Speaking of fucking
throw up in my mouth there a little bit.
To
me, it felt like I didn't even really see a difference between Johnny Depp's portrayal of Jack Sparrow and Tonto. It almost felt the same. It was almost like Pirates of the Caribbean meets the Wild Wild West.
Well, let me go into the history behind this, because you guys talk about vanity projects. This movie, do you guys know how this movie got developed, how it got made, the story behind it?
Yeah, because some dumbass had too much money in his pocket.
Actually,
no.
Actually, I kind of know how it happened, but let's talk about it anyway.
All right.
Because we did talk about this on IGG.
All right. When Disney had Johnny Depp signed on to do the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, they had him signed for 3 movies.
Disney, mistake number 1. Go ahead.
Yeah. When Disney decided to make Pirates 4, they desperately wanted Jack Sparrow back. They knew that if they couldn't get Johnny Depp, there's no way the movie would sell. So they went up to Johnny Depp. Yeah, so they went to Johnny Depp and they said, look, you sign with us one more time to do this Pirates 4 movie, and we will make any movie you want. And he went up to them and said, I want to play Tonto in The Lone Ranger. And so like, all right, we'll do it. That's the only reason this movie got made. Is
Are you
Johnny
kidding
Depp.
me?
That was it. That was the only reason. They needed to get him to do Pirates 4, so they agreed to do The Lone Ranger. They got Gore Verbinski back. They threw a dump truck full of money at him and said, look, here's $200 million. Make us a Lone Ranger movie. And he went.
And Disney, how did that work out for you?
Yeah, this movie blew up in their faces. And honestly, as a Lone Ranger movie, you can tell this was made specifically for Johnny Depp because the entire character of Tonto is the main focus. He's the guy that tells the story. He's the only character in there that does anything, really. I mean, the Lone Ranger is made to look like a complete ninny in this movie. It's 2.5 hours long. It doesn't need to be. You've got characters like what's her name? Helena Bonham Carter, who's in there for no apparent reason other than
she is hot.
She is, but she was completely unnecessary in this movie. Other than
she's unnecessary to anything.
Let me ask you guys a question. Now, if you've got something with the the whole Disney name attached to it, and it's not a cartoon, how valuable is it really?
Well,
it's not really. Not really.
At
all.
Considering they recently purchased Marvel and Lucasfilms, their name is going to be attached to those movies regardless. So I can't really say that I wouldn't watch a non-cartoon Disney movie because, it's technically, these Marvel movies are technically Disney movies. They are under the license.
Well, now we're talking about George Lucas being involved in this, Lucasfilms. What kind of movies are they going to take and run into the ground now? Like, what are we going to do, Indiana Jones 5?
Actually, yes. They actually bought back the rights to Indiana Jones from Paramount. They are planning on doing a 5th Indiana Jones movie.
Oh God. No.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
If they bring Shia LaBeouf back, I'm going to go and fucking find him and kill him.
Well, who's going to be in it?
What do you guys think about J.J. Abrams is doing the next Star Wars movie?
Yes, J.J. Abrams is going to be directing 7, 8, and 9.
Guys, what do you think about that?
Horrible. Stupid.
I don't mind J.J. Abrams. I think he's a solid director. I think he's done really well with the Star Trek movies. Honestly,
no, he has. Don't get me wrong, but when you think Star Wars, the only name I would think of is George Lucas himself.
Not technically, because there were other people that directed the first 3 movies. I mean, Lucas directed Star Wars, but there were other directors for Empire and Jedi, and I think because you had other influences in there, I think that's why those movies were as successful as they were.
Now, hold on a minute. I'm looking at IMDb.com, and I'm looking at Indiana Jones 5, and I'm seeing director Steven Spielberg, writer Philip Kaufman, writer George Lucas.
Yeah, Spielberg is coming back to direct this movie because he directed all the other ones. He directed 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Well, Lucas is still involved. Spielberg is still involved. Harrison Ford is still involved. I mean, how bad could this really be? If they keep
out of we could be seeing the redemption for number 4 here.
Well, let's see. You know, honestly, in terms of the Star Wars movies, the one director I think would be solid to direct this one of the either 7, 8, or 9. I'd love to see Joseph Kosinski do it. He was the director of Tron Legacy and Oblivion. I liked Oblivion. I really love that movie. I haven't seen Tron Legacy. I haven't seen Tron Legacy yet. I've got a copy of it. I've got to get down to watching it eventually. But
yeah, my dad was raving about Oblivion. He actually liked it, and he's not a big Tom Cruise fan.
I thought the movie was really good, and I think visually he would be perfect to do one of the Star Wars movies, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, in terms of, to go back to what we were talking about, I mean, this movie was, the Lone Ranger was just a massive vanity project for Johnny Depp, and it bombed hard. I think honestly, this is one of the biggest bombs I've ever seen. I mean, like I said, $200 million, and it barely made back half its budget. I mean, it's just, to me, this is one of those movies that...
Are we talking a combination of worldwide and U.S., like international and U.S. combined?
89 million domestically, 171 million internationally. So in terms of its budget, it did break even, but like I said, when you count worldwide releases,
marketing,
you're also counting
yeah.
in. Yeah, so it did not make any money. I think Disney said that they had
surprise, motherfucker.
I think Disney said that they had to do like $100 million write-off on this movie. It's rough,
and any
man.
movie that this pushed Johnny Depp to the brink where he considered retirement bad.
Honestly, if I were him, I would take a break from acting. I would be like, I would.
He's got enough fucking money to do it.
I would take as big of a break as the Smith family should take. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
If I was Johnny Depp. Nobody cares about that English accent.
You can focus on that.
Yeah. Take a break. Wait for Tim Burton to come back out and do another movie. Because God knows that if Tim Burton makes another movie, it's going to be starring Johnny Depp.
Will be the first. Yeah, he'll be the first to jump in line to say, I'll do it.
If he
I'll do
does another fucking Johnny Depp movie, I'm going to start killing people. You know what? My favourite moment Johnny Depp recently was when he got killed off in 21 Jump Street.
You know why he signed? You know why he signed on to do 21 Jump Street, right?
What was that?
He signed on to be killed. He said they wanted him and the other guy from 21 Jump Street back, and they said, I'll only do it if you kill my character off, because from what I've heard, Johnny Depp is not proud of his work on 21 Jump Street. He does not look at that movie, that TV series highly in his past.
He's not the only one who's not proud of his work on 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, from what I've heard, if you bring up 21 Jump Street in interviews with Johnny Depp, he ends the interview instantly. That's one of the...
you know what I got to do? I got to talk to him and say, Johnny, how you doing, man? How's 21 Jump Street kicking ya? What? But he was fun.
It's one of those things you just don't bring up with him is his role on 21 Jump Street. That's why he came back.
The two guys died in such a gay way as well, when they just they're both half dead, laying on the floor together, holding each other's fucking hands. Just what?
Hey, have you guys heard the Michael Bolton song on YouTube about Jack Sparrow? Have you guys heard that?
Yes, it's him in the Lonely Island.
It's beautiful. A tale of Captain Jack Sparrow.
One of the best songs I've ever seen in my life. This is great.
Maybe if they got Michael Bolton to do the soundtrack for Lone Ranger, it would actually been a hit.
Right.
This is a tale of a man named Tonto.
Tonto with a damn crow on his head. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Jeez.
Oh, fuck. What a shit.
The look was hideous.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man, because I think a good movie could have been made out of Lone Ranger, but that wasn't it. I mean, you could have had it could have been like an old style, like Jerry Bruckheimer, just simple action adventure movie, but that movie was just so overblown. It it's like I said, it's one of those movies that should stand as a marker for bad movies, and it's not because we've got a bunch of others on this list.
They had no idea what they were doing in that movie. Simple.
Yeah.
And it effectively
I don't think they cared either.
Yeah, and it effectively ended the whole, like, Bruckheimer-Disney relationship. That was like the nail in the coffin for both companies.
That's unfortunate because I like Bruckheimer. I think he's a solid producer. I think he's done some really fun movies, and it's.
You talking about Jerry or Joe?
Jerry Bruckheimer.
Yeah, because people don't know about Joe. He's the outcast of the family.
Oh, there's still about Joe. What did he do? Did he, like, kill and fuck a sheep or something? Is that why no one talking about him?
I don't even think he exists.
Did he direct The Lone Ranger? It's blame on Joe.
No. That was Gore Verbinski.
Just blame on Joe Bruckheimer.
I can't believe Gore took that role. I cannot believe he took that. I know they gave him a boatload of money. I still cannot believe he actually directed it.
And it was his follow-up, I believe, to Rango, wasn't it?
Rango?
The Johnny Depp.
No, Rango was
movie?
the cartoon when he was the voice of. Johnny Depp did the voice of that. Was it a lizard or?
Oh yeah, the thing with the gecko. Yeah, with the big tongue.
Yeah, that was
Kiefer Sutherland guest starred and did all like the Clint Eastwood Wild Wild West movie, like infamous lines. He did that cameo.
Wild Wild West.
Like all of Clint Eastwood's famous Western movies, all those.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. All right. What were you gonna say, Nick?
I was saying, in that movie, it was the same movie where Kiefer Sutherland did come back, and he quoted in all of Rango's flashbacks. It was like every infamous line from Clint Eastwood's Western movies, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that's the one where Johnny Depp played the voice of the gecko. But as far as being like a follow-up to that, no, I couldn't see it.
Well, no, it was the movie he did after that. He did Rango, and then his next movie was The Lone Ranger. So to follow up,
okay, yeah, I think that, yeah, then you might be right on that one.
Yeah, follow up your filmography with that movie. I don't know. This might be one of the last Gore Verbinski movies we see for a while. I think he's going to be in the doghouse for a while in terms of Hollywood, which, it's unfortunate. I thought the Pirates movies were fun for what they were.
I still love them to this day.
Yeah, you hate to see a talented director like that, but everybody's got their breaking point.
All it takes is that one mistake to put you can make 10 good movies. And I learned this in my many of my film classes at UCF. All it takes is that one bad movie, that one mistake, and you're in the doghouse. No matter how many good ones you made, all it takes is one that goes bad.
Like Terminator 3.
Follows you.
Oh, trust me.
God.
Yeah, well, the less about Terminator 3, the better. But, folks, we're hitting the home stretch. We're 15 minutes in from the end. If you want to call in, 718-664-9265. See, I can do a call-out number, too, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, we've got a few more left on the show before we head out. So let's go with another big-budget movie, White House Down, the Channing Tatum, Jamie Foxx, Roland Emmerich movie.
I love this one.
Cost $150 million, only made back 73 domestically, 132 internationally. I think what hurt this movie was it came out after the movie Olympus Has Fallen, which was a big hit. It's a movie I have seen, and if you haven't seen it, I would really go out of your way to watch it. That's a fun movie, Olympus Has Fallen. It's on Netflix right now.
Well, you can't make a movie like something that Morgan Freeman was in. You just can't put something like that out after something with Morgan Freeman comes out. You just can't do that. That would have been like back in the day, back in the 90s, a prison movie coming out after Shawshank Redemption came out. It's not going to work.
Well, this is one of those times where it's just two movies that were very similar came out at the same time. It's like Deep Impact and Armageddon, Volcano and Dante's Peak, Ants and a Bug's Life, Red Planet and Mission to Mars. It's one of those things where two very similar movies just happen to come out within months of each other, and one movie succeeds and one movie fails. Olympus Has Fallen came out first, and I liked Olympus Has Fallen a lot. I haven't seen White House Down, but I'm not saying it's a bad movie. In fact, it's weird because this is a Roland Emmerich movie, and I don't remember much fanfare when this movie came out. Usually when Roland Emmerich comes out with a movie, there's a big deal. I mean, Nick, you and I, we went to go see 2012 in the theaters. There was a lot of fanfare for that. You know,
well,
it's
he's
one of those
famous for disaster movies, and they always get. I mean, he did Independence Day, he did The Day After Tomorrow. His specialty are disaster movies. So that when you think Roland Emmerich, disaster movies is the first thing that comes to mind. This
I think
to me was. What's that?
Go ahead.
No, like to me, this was complete break away from what he's used to doing. It was something that I'm not familiar with seeing Roland Emmerich do before. So I was kind of surprised by that. When I found
they tried to make it too close to reality. Jamie Foxx was the president in this movie, and he's a young black man like Barack Obama. It just looked way too close. I mean, it had a great cast: Channing Tatum, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Jason Clarke was in this thing, Richard Jenkins was in this thing. I mean, it's got a great cast, but it's just it came out way too close to Olympus Has Fallen, like you said, and it just, I don't know, just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
I think it also was the ad campaign, because I remember seeing trailers for this when it was first announced, and they very much made it as like a high-octane action movie, and then towards the release date, they started releasing trailers about it being a straight-up comedy. Like, they highlighted a lot of the comedic ends. So by the time this movie came out, no one knew what this movie was. Is it a tense action movie? Is it a buddy comedy? Honestly, by the time this thing came out, I was joking with my friends. I'm like, so they remade Die Hard with a Vengeance with the White House? Like, honestly, I was looking at it, I'm like, if you swapped out Channing Tatum with Bruce Willis and Jamie Foxx with Samuel L. Jackson, this could have been the third Die Hard movie.
Oh, this would have been the best movie ever if you put Samuel L. Jackson in that role. And I agree with taking Channing Tatum out and putting Bruce Willis in there. And speaking of another Die Hard movie, what about the latest Die Hard movie that just came out last year? When the hell did Bruce Willis become a spy in the Die Hard movies?
When did he become the transporter is what I'm talking about. That's my biggest issue with these latest ones is...
Gotcha.
That's my biggest problem with these latest Die Hard movies is that they've become goofball action movies. Like, they're just throwing everything at this guy, and that wasn't what Die Hard was about. I mean, yeah, there were set pieces, but one of the things that made Die Hard so great is that Bruce Willis is just a regular guy. He's a guy put in a bad situation. He's got to fight his way through things. He's got to, save his wife from this terrorist, and he's just a regular cop guy. Whereas nowadays with these movies, I mean, he's flying trucks into airplanes and all this other stuff, and it's like, no, that's not Die Hard. That's the transporter.
It's like his experience walking across glass turned him into some type of super ninja.
Yeah, it's they're trying to make Die Hard appeal to newer audiences, and I think that's really, it doesn't need to. It shouldn't have to. It's Die Hard. It's one of the greatest action franchises of all time, and you shouldn't have to pander it to new audiences. You should be like, listen, this is how you do an action movie right,
Yeah.
Yeah, Die Hard was probably the best Christmas movie that ever came out besides Home Alone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is a Christmas movie.
You damn right it is.
I don't know.
It also seems to me like when it comes to action movies these days, it's how much bigger can you get as far as the stunts and the action in it. It's what is that next wow moment we can create that panders to the new audiences of today, too. It's just something I always seem to observe. I mean, if I'm wrong, please feel free to let me know.
No, I completely agree. It's all spectacle nowadays.
Yeah, I agree as well.
It's not character-driven. I mean, you look at like we said before, those early Seagal movies. They weren't. Yeah, they focused a lot on the fighting, but they were very much character-driven. You cared about the main characters, whether it was Forrest Taft or Casey Ryback or something. You cared about those characters. Nowadays, it's the stunt work and the CGI that draws you in, and very few action movies nowadays are character-driven.
It's the explosions. It's the fire. It's the blow-ups.
It's like Clint was saying. It's all about that. It's how big can you make your explosions? How many can you have?
Yeah. How many people can you shoot? How many people can you knock down? And how much shit can you blow up? That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Like that's why I'll say there are very few actors that have been able to transcend that. Like, I'm a big Dwayne Johnson fan. I think he's one of those actors that has brought character to a lot of his roles. He doesn't, to me, fall into that facet of just being, a guy that makes explosions. He's got a personality to him. He would have been great in like those mid-'90s action movies. You know.
I think The Rock is a tool, personally. I don't think he's good in any of his stuff.
I've heard people have issues with him, but like I said, it's hit or miss. I mean, my favorite movie this year was Pain. My favorite movie this year was Pain and Gain. I love that movie to death. That was a great movie, even though it's a Michael Bay movie, but it's very much not a Michael Bay movie. It's very atypical of his, but if you guys haven't seen it out there, go and watch Pain and Gain. That movie is awesome.
I think it's after you see The Rock in the ring. I think it's after you watch him in the WWE for so long, and when you watch him, sitting in the ring with a guitar and singing "SmackDown Hotel, baby," it's just kind of you look at that kind of stuff and you're like, this guy is about as fake as it gets.
He's getting better. He's better in the acting than Hulk Hogan is. That's for sure.
Brother, where is Burhan on that one?
And Burhan, where are you anyway? We've been talking all the time, and you've just been sitting here.
I thought he actually hung up for a second. I thought I heard a phone call. I thought, oh no, we lost someone.
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
Well, folks, we're in the home stretch. We've got almost 5 minutes left, so if you want to get some last-minute words in edgewise, 718-664-9265. The live stream is going to end at about 5 minutes, and we'll be finishing up in the podcast section, so in the archive section. So stick with us as long as you can, and if you miss out on the last bit, you can always download the show on blogtalkradio.com/RUUnlimited, I think is the name.
Yep.
Just search for Retro
and we're on iTunes.
Oh yes, we are on iTunes.
The show, as soon as it gets archived, goes automatically on iTunes.
I got to say something. This has probably been the best initial first episode of any radio show I've been on. I mean, this has been great.
Gameplay. Did kind of. I have to know that one.
This is good stuff, man. I'm gonna have to keep coming back. I like this.
Oh, I'd love to keep this going. I might end up changing the format though to focus more on movie news and leave these special episodes for like a once in a while thing, like a monthly thing. These 2-hour bits. I don't know. I've got to see because me and Burhan, we do IGG and we could spend a whole hour on just news. The first hour.
Who the fuck is Burhan?
Michael Burhan.
I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
Oh, they're well-timed, sir. Very well-timed.
Surprise, motherfucker.
All right. Let's go into the next big movie.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Let's go into the next big movie, which I saw the trailers for this movie, and I don't know what to say about this one. Ender's Game. $110 million budget, $61 million domestically, $27 million internationally.
It doesn't look like some kid was being felt up in church by Harrison Ford.
Well, this movie has been in development for years now. I mean, they've been wanting to make an Ender's Game movie since the mid-'90s, on and off. I mean, Orson Scott Card has been trying to get this off the ground for years, and I don't know. I think it's from what I've heard, the biggest problem with this movie is it tried to fit too much into a 2-hour space.
As always with these movies.
I'll tell you the biggest problem with this thing. It is classified as military/science fiction. That's the problem. Those two don't go together.
I kind of agree with Clint on that one.
Military science fiction doesn't work.
I think they just threw too much into it. It's like the Queen of the Damned before it. They just went too much. It was
Queen of the Damned. Yeah, that was with that chick that was carrying all them drugs out of that Colombian country, right? And she had that plane crash.
Alea. And actually, it was not the funny thing, but the worst thing about it was,
it was funny.
She just ignored baggage heights and stuff. She overloaded the plane. They didn't check it, and she crashed to her death.
She died when I was in United States Navy boot camp, and I remember the chicks in my division. I was in a performance division. We had 50 men.
I would have booted her camp.
She, I would have booted it too. She, all the chicks went crazy when she died. They were like, "Oh, we got Aaliyah's gun." I'm like, "She's Queen of the Damned. She's burning in hell." What the?
She overloaded her plane. That's pretty much it.
With the drugs.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that movie a part of a trilogy? It was part of the Interview with the Vampire trilogy, right?
No, it was part of the. It was supposed to be part of the trilogy. Where what they did is they did Interview with the Vampire with Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt. It was done. That was done right. Now, they never did Vampire Lestat. They kind of intermingled it with Queen of the Damned and put it all together and smashed it, and it just didn't work. One, because the guy playing Lestat had no fucking clue what he was doing.
I agree with that.
I believe it was the same guy who was in Terminator Salvation. And Alea playing the Queen of the Damned, she had no fucking clue what she was doing. The problem is when you put musicians into movies, that's what you're going to get. Now, for those people who've actually seen the trailer for this, there's a Cameron Diaz film that's just come out. What is going to be out called I believe it's The Other Woman, and it's got Nicki Minaj in it. Watch Nicki Minaj try and act. My fucking Jesus, metal death Christ.
Oh, I recognize. Hold on, I recognize why this. I know why this guy is so recognizable. He's the guy that played Dorian Gray in that League of Extraordinary Gentlemen
Yes.
adaptation. I'm like, yeah, now I recognize that guy. But
go back onto my LA rant for a second. Watch her that. Every word that comes out of her mouth sounds like she needs to be bitch slapped. Seriously, it's like just go down and fucking sing it. Don't.
Well, I just have. Yeah, I've got to say this.
Shut up, bitch.
I've got to say this, Nick. If it kicks you out, it's because we've got you through the Blog Talk call client, and I think once the show ends, it's going to probably end up kicking you out. So
join Miguel on Skype. Come on.
Do you have a Skype, Nick, that you can join us on?
No, I don't. So I will be getting on now, so I can join in future casts.
Yeah, join
I'm
Skype.
also gonna. Chris also asked me to help him out with his show, so I'm gonna see if I can pull double duty.
Well, we got less than a minute left, Nick. We appreciate you being on. This is the Untitled Movie Show, Episode 1, talking about the biggest box office blunders of 2013 with our host, Miguel. We got Michael Burhan. My name is Clint Davis.
Nick,
we're winding it down.
Yeah, Nick, I appreciate you being on, man. Like I said, get Skype soon. I'll add you on, and then you could be a more permanent part. But in a minute, it's going to go into the archive section. So, folks, thanks for tuning in with us.
Hey, thanks for having me again, guys.
No problem, guys.
No problem.
I really
a big
appreciate
thank you to Xbox Fanboy, who's not in the chat. You probably will be on IGG. And also a big thank you to those people who bitch on the internet about stuff and mention wives. Anyway, let's continue this and talk about how shitty Queen of the Damned was.
5 bones left. Here we go.
Yeah. Nick, I appreciate it, man. It's going to probably end up kicking you off. Thanks for helping out. Thanks for being on the show.
No problem. You guys have a good one.
You too,
it's
man.
the beef.
All right, so we've got a few more left, about a handful of bombs left. Let's go into, let's see, what's the next one on this list that I've got here? Let's go into a movie that I'm glad this movie bombed. There was a lot of bad press around this movie, and I really am not a big fan of the director, and that would be Spike Lee's Old Boy. $30 million budget, only made $2 million, both domestic and internationally.
Yeah, that kind of hurt it.
Yeah, this movie... Look, I haven't seen Old Boy yet, but I've seen bits and pieces of it. The movie's a great movie, and I really
I've seen the original one, yeah. The original one is. And there's so much more meaning towards it, where with the remake that they did, I call it the Hollywood make that they did on this, it just... They had no fucking clue. They didn't know what they were doing with it. The source material, they changed it, tried to change it just enough to make it a Spike Lee movie. It makes you want to just jizz on Spike Lee's face and say, shut up!
Well, this whole... First off, from what I've heard, they basically lightened up all the more visceral scenes, which is going to be the case when you deal with Hollywood. They're never going to take a risk on something that could alienate people. You know, even though it might benefit the story, they're not going to do it, you know. I don't even mind that they cast Josh Brolin in the role, because I like Josh Brolin. I think Josh Brolin
was okay in the role. He was okay. It was just as the film itself had no understanding. It's another one of those badly written, badly directed type movies. And I think
Samuel L. Jackson was in this movie. I mean, this should have done way better. And I'll give you guys an idea And I don't know if you'll agree with me on this. I'm not a country western fan, but I'm going to tell you, Josh Brolin should do the life story of Randy Travis. Can you see that happening?
I can. Given I know who Randy Travis is, and I can see visually. I can see it. I can definitely see that happening.
I think whoever puts a movie out like that, I don't know if I can pitch that to somebody or what, but I think if Josh Brolin does the life story of Randy Travis, it would be a smash hit. But you got Josh Brolin, you got Elizabeth Olsen, you got Samuel L. Jackson in this movie Old Boy.
And still the movie turned out like this.
Terrible. And here's the storyline plot to this. Obsessed with vengeance, a man sets out to find why he was kidnapped and locked into solitary confinement for 20 years without reason.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a vengeance story,
Yeah.
Honestly, I might end up seeing the American remake just because I'm a big fan of Josh Brolin. I might see both just to compare.
You know what? I have to admit, he made Men in Black 3. He made that movie. His impression of Tommy Lee Jones was so fucking good.
Yeah, from what I've heard, he really brought his A game in that one. But
he did.
In terms of Old Boy, we also have to bring up the copyright issue that took place beforehand, which I think is really what hurt the movie coming out. Are you guys familiar with the copyright issues with Spike Lee?
No.
All right. There's a freelance artist by the name of, I believe his name is Juan Luis Garcia. Let me just check his name on here. He does freelance work for movies. He does like ad campaigns and stuff, and he signed on with the ad campaign for Old Boy. Now, the ad agency he signed with said, we might not be able to pay you, but you'll be able to put this on your resume and say that you got a chance to work with Spike Lee. So he made up a bunch of ad mock-ups for the Old Boy poster, a lot of the stuff that they ended up using. And when he asked the ad campaign to pay him, they fired him. So he wrote a letter to Spike Lee directly and posted on his website asking for help. He's like, listen, these guys are using copyrighted material, because he did copyright it before he submitted it. So
Damn fucking straight, man. Come on, this movie's like, it's a big fucking budget movie. You can pay a fucking dude. Seriously.
Yeah. He copywrote his material, and then when he submitted it, they fired him because he wanted money for it, and used it anyway. So he went to Spike Lee. He wrote a letter to him and said, look, your this ad company that's working with you, even though you might not be directly involved with them, they're using material that isn't theirs, and I was wondering if you could help me out. And Spike Lee basically blew the guy off and said, listen, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who this company is. If you got beef with them, that's your vibe, man. That's your thing, And he.
And this is the dude who used to say, "Fight the power," fucking dipshit.
Oh, it gets better, Burhan. It gets better because, as it turned out, the company that the ad campaign is a subsidiary of Spike Lee Corporation.
Oh, for fuck's
So
sake.
he technically did have maybe not direct control, but he could have said no. He could have done something about this whole fiasco. And it gets even better. He's actually using Garcia's original mock-ups as incentive on his upcoming Kickstarter project. You know how when you donate, when you donate for Kickstarter, they give you little incentives depending on how much you donate. He's offering the mock-ups that Garcia made as incentive for his Kickstarter campaign. So not only could he have done something about it, he's willingly using stolen artwork. And by the way, Juan Luis Garcia is not just some low-level art guy. He's done ad work for The Great Gatsby. He's the one that actually did that really iconic Django Unchained poster, the one with the red background and the white chains. That was his. So he's not just some know-nothing. He's worked on other movies.
Well, he did a poster. That's it.
He did a lot of the ad. He did a lot of the ad work, like a lot of the theater posters, theatrical stuff. That was,
yeah, but who pays attention to that kind of stuff?
It's what sells the movie. It's the posters you see in the theaters.
TV commercials. That's what does it for me. I don't see any posters anywhere. I don't even go to movie theaters.
It's still it's still work that needs to be paid for, and I'll say this happens a lot more than it should in the freelance artwork. I've got a lot of friends who have been in this situation before, but
it's not just freelance artwork as well. It's to actors. I've seen film companies with very big budgets try and fucking wrangle their way out of paying actors for roles that they're not, that they should have been paid for. They had every right to be paid for. You've got money in your fucking back pocket. Don't tell me that you can't pay people. And Spike Lee, you should have fucking known better. Seriously, douchebag.
Yeah, I don't know if he's taken him to court yet, but this is going to get settled, and I think a lot of the negative feedback against this may have hurt them. Plus he released this on Thanksgiving Day, which I don't understand why people do that. I mean, I don't know anybody who goes out on Thanksgiving or Christmas, and we'll talk about that with this final one we're coming up, but why would you release a movie on Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day? Those are usually days where people really don't go out, I don't know anybody that does go out, except for me, but that's because I have to work those days.
I never do, man. That's like, being a single dad, that's like one of the only days I get, with my kids, and I don't go out and watch movies on Christmas Day. That's crazy.
That really pissed me off, man. Spike Lee should have known fucking better.
Well, this is the same guy whose ego is so big. Burhan, do you remember a couple years ago when he sued the Nashville network because they were gonna launch Spike TV? They were changing their name from the TNN to Spike TV, and
yep.
he forced them to delay their launch because he argued in court that they were using his name, the name Spike, as a means of promoting this show, even though it had nothing to do with the network. His name had nothing to do with it, and he tried to sue them for using his copyrighted name illegally.
Well, that was when the WWE was with TNN. They were on TNN every Monday night, and then suddenly they went to Spike TV, and then that's when Spike Lee was just trying to cry foul over all that stuff. It was ridiculous.
I agree.
Yeah, that's why when Spike TV first launched, it launched as just a late night block. It was that late night cartoon block. They weren't allowed to actually call the network Spike TV yet until they, settled out of court with Spike Lee. But right. I mean, this is the kind of ego we're dealing with. So I'm glad this movie failed. I think it's unfortunate because I think more people should watch Old Boy, but go out and watch the real movie, folks. Don't bother with this version. I might not even bother with it. So.
As far as I'm concerned, in terms of Spike Lee, dude, seriously, you know what? You're a freaking hack.
Yeah.
He should just stick to doing blaxploitation movies where black people get done wrong by the white man.
Well, it's to the point now where he's announcing that he wants to do a sequel to his basketball movie, He Got Game.
I hope not.
I made the comment online like, wow, he really needs to recoup his losses after.
So Spike Lee, he got lame.
That's like doing a remake with that Michael Jordan movie with the Looney Tunes in it. What was the name of that?
Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Yeah, that's like doing the same damn thing.
That was He Got Game too. With Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spike Lee, he got lame.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on to the next one, shall we?
Well, we've got one last one. This is the big one. All right, now technically this movie is still in theaters, so it's not safe to say that this is going to be a massive bomb, but it's not making any headway. It's actually being pulled out of most theaters because it's not making that much money, and that is Keanu Reeves' 47 Ronin. $175 million budget. So far, it's only made $33 million domestically, $51 million internationally, and I don't see this movie making any more money going into February.
Oh, Keanu, man.
I do. I totally do. I see nothing but absolute good reviews from people, especially in this area of the country. I mean, people are raving about this movie. I mean, I don't know why it hadn't made as much money as it should have.
I think it's because of several reasons. One, this movie was delayed. It's like the situation with Jack the Giant Slayer. It got delayed a full year from when it was supposed to be released, because it was supposed to be released December of last year, but they pulled it back to work on the special effects and to add more Keanu Reeves scenes. And literally, when I say that, I'm not lying. The principal photography for this movie was done. The movie was finished, and the studios thought, we're not going to be able to sell this movie without a big-name actor, so they flew Keanu Reeves back in to film some extra scenes, and they basically, it's like what Brad Jones said, they Godfrey Hoed Keanu Reeves into this movie. Almost none of the footage...
Wasn't he in this?
He was originally in it, yes, but it was very sparingly. He was very much a supporting cast member, but they figured we can't really promote this movie as a Keanu Reeves movie because he's not really in it that much. So after principal filming was done, they delayed the movie a year and they brought him back to film new footage so that they can actually, rightfully promote him as the star, even though he's the supporting cast member. He's a bit player in this movie, and none of the scenes that they filmed him with coincide with the main storyline. So,
what is the main story in this?
it's the story of the 47 Ronin. I'm not too familiar with it, but I know for a fact the character they made for the movie, for Keanu Reeves in this movie, is not in the original story. He plays this half American, half Japanese samurai, and he's got this love story with a princess going on, and it runs congruently with the main storyline. But you could cut Keanu Reeves out of this movie completely, and it wouldn't hurt the movie. It's
all about a band of samurais when they set out to avenge the death and dishonor of their master at the hands of a ruthless shogun. That's what this whole thing is about.
Yeah, and Keanu Reeves has nothing to do with that. He has his own storyline going. And I think that was a big issue. I mean, they spent a ton of money more to get Keanu Reeves back into it, and it hasn't really done anything for the marketing on this. I mean, yeah, Keanu's face is all over all the posters and the TV spots, but no one cares, and clearly nobody cares because I don't think it's going to make its money back. I think give it a few more weeks, it's going to be pulled out. This Universal has already said they're ready to write this thing off to about $100 million in losses.
Good Lord.
That's going to really hurt Keanu Reeves, though. I feel really bad for the guy.
I don't think it will. I think he's got a good enough resume that it's not going to affect him. I think it's going to affect the people who are writing these movies.
Think about it this way, right? From the day the Earth stood still to this. From the day the Earth stood still, he didn't do anything until 47 Ronin.
Well, let me see. I'm about to bring up Keanu Reeves' filmography. Let's see. 47 Ronin. In terms of big budget movies, yeah, this is it. Because his next few movies were a bunch of producer roles and little indie projects. Yeah. Day the Earth Stood Still was his last big budget movie, and I haven't heard much good about that. I still think
I walked out of that with my brother. We sat there and we walked out of that movie, and he looked at me, I looked at him, and he went, "So, yeah."
Well, you look at movies right underneath that. I mean, you got Street Kings, you've got Constantine. What else does he have?
Was a good film. Wasn't amazing. Was a good film.
He's got The Matrix Revolutions, Enter the Matrix Reloaded. Of course, we probably could have done without the Animatrix, but there's just he's got a huge list of stuff that I think will save him from this movie being a bust. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think he's so detached from this movie that it won't hurt his drawing power. I think they're just going to be like, all right, that was just a weird role for him. We can kind of write that off. And he's got two other movies in pre-production right now, John Wick and Passengers. So we'll see how those go. But
yeah, if they don't do it, he's done. I've got a funny feeling he's done after that.
Well, I'm worried about Passengers. It's supposed to come out next year, 2015. And here's the storyline plot: a spacecraft, that's where I'm out on this, is transporting thousands of people to a distant colony planet that has a malfunction in one of its sleep chambers. As a result, a single passenger is awakened 90 years before anyone else. Faced with the prospect of growing old and dying alone, he eventually decides to wake up a second passenger. I mean, how stupid does that sound?
Honestly,
No, be real. Be real.
It reminds me of Oblivion in a way where this is going to be one of those movies that's going to be dependent on the chemistry of two actors. And I think Keanu Reeves is a great action lead. I don't think he's that great of an actor, a method actor, and I think this is going to be. It's got to be with a story like this. You really got to have a guy that can really carry a movie on his own. And I don't see that from an acting perspective as something Keanu can do. I think he's a great action lead. I just don't see him as an actor lead.
Well, now you look at John Wick, that's supposed to come out this year, And the plot behind this is a former hitman is pursued by an old friend who was contracted to kill him. I'm into that kind of movie. I'm out on the spaceships. I'm out of sleeping people and waking people up 90 years before they're supposed to be woken up. I'm into this, though. John Wick sounds like a damn good movie. It's an action thriller, and it's I don't know what month it's set to be released. There's dates here. Don't have an actual month and day.
No, I don't think there's been an actual day, but it's got a pretty decent cast. Willem Dafoe's in it, so that's got me right there.
Yeah, I'm in on that.
Do you know what movie I want to see?
What's that?
I want to see the sequel to Speed, called Speed Reading.
Huh?
The bus movie from the 90s.
Now, long shot, you got 15 seconds to read this entire book. Oh, this whole place is gonna blow.
You can't read below 15 minutes per words per second.
And then he basically says, and he reads it's fish, you idiot, and the place explodes. I really think that should happen. It's hilarious. Keanu Reeves, I love you to pieces, my man, but seriously, fucking get something together and start working on some proper projects. Otherwise, we ain't going to see you again, and I'll be sad, because then you'll leave me with fine actors like Tom Cruise.
Hey, he did really good in Oblivion. I am not a Tom Cruise fan, but I really liked him in Oblivion. That was a movie that he was able to carry on just him and one other actor, well, actress in this case. But I think he did.
My mom.
What? Seriously, man. I if anybody hasn't seen Oblivion, check it out. It's really worth watching. I don't know if it's something that you'd go back to all the time once you see what all the plot elements are, but I really do recommend that movie a lot. I really do think Tom Cruise really knocked it out of the park. And yeah, I liked him in Minority Report, but that was a Spielberg movie, so, that's, take with it what you will. But yeah, that's pretty much it for bombs. We're going to wrap things up. 2014, I mean, you got a lot of big movies coming out. You got stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy. Is Batman vs. Superman slated for a 2014 release, or is it 2015?
I think it's 2015.
Are they really going at it? I mean, what's the deal with that?
They basically decided to pile every single bloody DC character in this bloody movie, and it's just not working. I just don't get it. I don't understand why they would want to put something like this out. They just don't have any good. Who is this? Henry Cavill is playing Superman. You know what? I've said this, and I think we need to go on a huge, long debate about this, Miguel, on the next episode, depending if you want to or not. The Henry Cavill, in my opinion, wasn't that great of a Superman.
I agree. I was not enamored by his Superman, but we can do that. We can have next week. We'll do some movie news, and then we'll debate Superman. We'll debate Man of Steel then, because that honestly was probably the biggest disappointment for me of 2013 was Man of Steel. Because
I agree.
Me too.
I had a lot riding on that movie. The Walmart I work at, when Man of Steel was just about to come out, played the trailers on the TVs all the time. So I saw that initial Man of Steel trailer all the time, and I bought into it. I was hyped for it, and I just was so sad when that movie came out. And we can do a big thing about it next week in terms of debating, because I have a lot of problems with it, more than the movie, than the movie at that. But, yeah, in terms of 2014, you got a lot of movies coming out. You got the Godzilla remake. You've got Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. You got The Legend of Hercules. You got Transformers 4.
What?
What, Transformers 4?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they should have stopped making those after the second one.
Well, it's going to be a new cast. From what I've seen, Mark Wahlberg is going to be the star of this one, which I like Mark Wahlberg. I'll watch it for him. You got 300, Rise of the Empire. You got Captain America 2.
I am so not happy about 300, Rise of the Empire. I think they really should have just left it.
I wasn't that enamored with 300 originally. I mean, I thought it was an okay action movie, but I'm not in love with the movie like everybody I know seems to be. Like, oh my God, 300. Like, it was okay. It was all right for what it was. I think Zack Snyder. We'll get into Zack Snyder next week when we talk about Man of Steel. Trust me. But you've got Amazing Spider-Man 2. You got Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise. That one actually looks pretty good. You got a lot of big-time movies. Oh, Sin City 2 is being placed for 2014. That's going to be interesting. But you got a lot of big movies coming up. Is there any ones in particular you guys are looking forward to seeing next year? Well, this year.
This year, I'm looking forward to Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I know is going to be a fucking flop.
I think the same way. I'm excited about that movie, but I just don't think it's going to be any good.
Yeah, I think they've gone around the wrong way with that one. I really am looking forward to the Captain America 2. I think that's going to be well done. It looks well done. X-Men Days of Future Past, is that coming out this year? Or is that next year?
May. It's coming out.
So I'm looking forward to that as well. Apart from that, I'm probably not looking forward to anything else. I'm going to see what happens. I will continue watching films. By the way, ladies and gents, I am watching the Wolf of Wall Street. I'm going to actually start watching that tomorrow when I wake up, because I'm completely not tired, because it's 3:23 a.m. here.
Well, don't worry. We're going to be ending it soon enough. This is kind of our lead out. Clint, any movie specifically you're looking forward to this year?
I'm thinking there's one coming out later this month called The Bronx Bull, and that's one that I'm looking forward to. I don't know if too many people are familiar with that, but it's real life experiences on legendary boxing champion Jake LaMotta, the Bronx Bull, and so that's kind of something I'm looking forward to here.
It looks like it's being headed up by William Forsythe. He's a really good actor.
Yeah, definitely.
For me, I'd have to say it's a tie between X-Men Days of Futures Past, and I hate to say it, I'm really looking forward to Expendables 3. I saw the trailer. I saw the lineup they got for it. I'm really excited for it. I'm in. All those actors that they got into there, this is going to be fun.
I probably only watch it for Harrison Ford.
Oh, yeah, Harrison Ford is in it. He's taking over Bruce Willis's role.
Yeah, so he's going to be a new character. They're not going to have Church.
Yeah.
I got to remind you guys now, on March 28th, we got a new movie coming out called Haunted House 2 with Marlon Wayans and Jamie Presley.
Oh. Boo. Listen, if I had a choice that Friday between that and any of the other movies, I'd rather see The Raid 2, because I like The Raid 1.
Hey, there's a Cesar Chavez movie coming out. Did you guys know about that?
Isn't he the boxer from Mexico?
Well, he led the famed civil rights leader band, labor organizer.
I'm thinking of a wrong Chavez then.
Yeah. This is a whole different guy. He embraced nonviolence as he battled greed and prejudice in his struggle for the rights of farm workers.
Yeah, he's being played by Michael Pena from End of Watch and Gangster Squad. I think that's a solid actor.
And Rosario Dawson is in this movie as well. So I mean,
Rosario Dawson, the only reason to watch Alexander.
Love her.
She's the only reason to freaking get your knob out. Anyway.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna wrap things up. Burhan, you got any plugs you want to make before we head on out?
Yes, I currently have a movie out on demand on Dailymotion called, speaking of movies, of course, called The East London Story Slap or Die, peeps. Go out, watch it. Tell me what you think. If you want to pan it, you can pan it. If you want to think it's amazing, think it's amazing. Just have a look at it. It was filmed in 2007 originally. It's directed by Sukdip Sagira. I played the lead in it, Billy, who's looking to avenge his brother's death by playing a game of Splatball against a major crime boss by the name of Bricks. So check it out. It's a good movie. It's a full 60 minutes. And if you're a reviewer and you want to review it, you can do. Just send me a message, drop me a line, and I will send you a preview copy.
All right. Anything else? A specific show that you want to plug real quick?
Of course. We're doing I Got Gameplay this Saturday. And it will be on the Legend of Zelda franchise. So make sure that you guys check that out. And it's fronted by none other than Samantha Jennings.
That's right. We pulled her away from that other channel to come back to IGG where she belongs.
Hey, I got a plug real quick.
Go ahead.
My show, XFI Live, we chronicle the events of Extreme Fighting Inc. in the western Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma area. We are the premier mixed martial arts promotion in the River Valley around here. We've got a show coming up tomorrow at noon, high noon. That is Central Standard Time. So if you guys want to listen to XFI Live, we're going to talk about the fight card that we just recently put out. And we're going to have a couple of guys on the show who are actually on that fight card. So it's going to turn out to be something good.
Check out.
I will say this, though, as well. Welcome to both you guys for being a part of Retro Unlimited Network. And welcome to all you fans out there as well. We've had a record number of listens today. You haven't beaten Desert Island Discs in terms of listens yet. But you've actually managed, you're only 3 away from beating their total. You're 26 live listens.
Oh, that warms me well, guys. Keep it up. Keep it up, guys. Yeah. That really does warm me well. And obviously, hopefully you can catch this show every Thursday night at 8 o'clock on the Retro Unlimited channel. I'm hoping to really keep this going. I really don't want to get pod faded, as they say.
Don't make me replace you like I've done with Jeff Krupp.
Oh, trust me, I'm going to try to keep up a good repertoire going.
Awesome.
But before we head on out, I have a quick question, Burhan. My outro, I don't see it on the board.
It should be on the board.
I see the Untitled feature, but I don't see the outro for that one. Or is it the which one is these? Live, everybody. Well, not live. We're not live, but we're kind of. There it is.
Celebrity voices are impersonated. No celebrities were harmed in filming of this episode.
Excuse me, sir. The show's over.
Get away, zit face.
It stinks.